Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to an Ask Me Anything a stream, a Q&A stream, a stream where we are just going to hang out. I'll try to answer all of your questions and mainly test out this thing that I built. Look at this. It works. So if you do exclamation mark Q&A in the chat, you'll get a link to it. And now anybody that goes to this link should be able to see the questions that are asked. This is a prototype. I just built it last night. We'll see how it goes, but we're here to try that out. Welcome, everyone. Let's say hello to all the people in the chat. I'll explain what that is more in a second after we say hello. Also, we're just getting started. Hopefully you're all having a wonderful day. This is an odd time for me to stream, but I'm kind of free, so. What happened? Did I lose my job? No. No. It's built with Vue. Thank you, Nothing As Is, for that Twitch Prime sub. And also, shout out to Murdoch Turner for the 100 bits before I even started streaming. And thank you to Undefined Itch, who subbed with Twitch Prime while I was not streaming. So I appreciate you. But yeah, if you want to say hello, just say hello or hi or hey. That's all we're going to do today. Hello, hi, and hey. Hello, Terrazoid and Mint Jim and Archuluk and David Snyder. What's up? And hello, Gazija. Yeah, I got rest. Yeah, so I did not do the Code Kata stream yesterday. That's pretty much why I'm streaming right now, is because I didn't get to stream yesterday. I was exhausted. I worked hard all day, and then I just went to sleep like immediately after work. So yeah. And hello, Harrison. Welcome. And hello, Acelera and Terminal Bash and Euclidean Ace. Kinjon is saying, I'm working right now. I miss watching your videos and learning some cool stuff. We'll donate once I get some moolah. No worries, Kinjon. Whenever you can, or you don't have to. I appreciate you, though. Hello, Mark. Hello, Brandon. And Wilt Chamberlain is my dad. It's been a while since you've been here. Welcome back. Hello, Awesome Rins. And the Danif. Hello. And Bite. And Leon. And Docty. What's up? And Ed. And Bob. And Being Pranjal. Yeah, this is not a normal time to stream. It's not. And hello, Ludragon. And Monoloito, you changed your image, which looks pretty cool. I like that. It's a ninja. And hello, I'm a Tug. Thanks again, Nothing, for that. Not thanks for nothing, but thank you, username Nothing, for that Twitch Prime sub. And hello, Jello Sulit, and Shines Love, and Durkaral, and Andrew, and Mustafa, and the Crisp, and Sledge Dog, and now Falana, and Ohm the Turtle, and Mint Jim has redeemed Focus Mode. We'll put it in the queue. Are there any questions here? There are a couple questions. Yeah. So we could focus and try to answer those questions. And hello, Murdoch Turner, what's up? And Mark, and P.S. Panasar, and Vinicius, and Yannick, and Dev, and Toasted Cheeses, and Eternal Dev Coder, and Razor One, and Green David. I have an Instagram, but I don't post on it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm at work, dreading my job. Well, you always cheer me up. That's good to hear. Well, welcome. Testing my user profile. Well, okay, so about this thing here. So in the chat, if you type !ask followed by your question, it will appear here. And also, if you, the viewer, go to vox.coding.garden. And thank you, Chance, for the 400 bits. And the Danif with the Twitch Prime sub. Wait, do we have a hype train? We have a hype train! We're just getting started. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jans, for those 400 bits, and the Denny for the Twitch Prime sub. If you're not aware, you can help with this this hype train by checking to see if you have a Twitch Prime sub available. You can click that link, log in with your Amazon account, and if you haven't used it, then it's available, and you can use it on me. You don't have to, but you could if you want to. What about this thing? Yeah, so if you do !ask followed by your question, it's going to show up here. And then, if you'd like to upvote a question, just like that, you can do !upvote followed by the question number. And if you type !Q&A in the chat, you'll get a link to this thing. Distensity with the tier 1 sub. Thank you very much, Distensity. We made it past level 1. Great work, everyone. Great work. Oh, wow, look at that. And thank you very much, Razor One, for that tier 1 sub. I appreciate you. But I think it's going to happen again. Let's wait for it. Right. Well, no, if I do this. Yeah, there it is. But let's do this. Yeah, there they are. The fox and the other thing, right? Nice job. 7 days remaining on your sub. Well, thank you for that follow, Big Easy. Yeah, no worries, Murdoch. Thanks for hanging out. Razor One with the gifted subs. Hello, John. Welcome. Thank you so much, Razor1, for those gifted subs. Shout out to L707, Etricon, Datboy, Drob, Indifferent Ghost. Too kind, and Big Beezy with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much, Big Beezy. Wait, what? Hi, what's that? There's too much. Greg with the gifted tier 1 sub. Their second gift in the channel. Thank you very much, Greg. And another gift to Submicron. Wow. 500 bits from Shines Love. Thank you very much, Shines Love. 25 bits from David Snyder. Level 3 complete. Great work, everyone. Wow. I hope you realize this is real money. This is real money that we're working with here. If I don't get Twitch partner, we're going to have a riot. I mean, here's the thing. Even though there are quite a few people watching, the majority of places on Twitch that actually make money are places where people are playing games. And I don't play games here. I mean, I kind of do. We are always playing games. But this is very different than the traditional Twitch content. And thank you very much, David, for those 10 bits. And hello is in Tazurez. Welcome. Oh yeah, we're here. Hey, no worries, Angel Lane. And thanks again, Razor1, for those gifted sub. Thank you, Big Beezy, for that Twitch Prime sub. And hello, Elmo. Thanks again, Greg, for that gifted sub. And the bits, thank you, Shines Love. Wow, so much love. Hearts. Can we get some coding hardened hearts in the chat? all the new subs, you get to use these emotes. Heart. We can also drop them too. So let's do that. And Davila converted from a Twitch Prime sub to a tier 1 sub. Apparently, I am not detecting that in my overlay. Thank you very much, Chance182, for that tier 1 sub. Oh man! All right, we need to get some drops. Let's drop some yerbas. I already had my yerba today. Thank you very much to Shines Love for continuing that gift sub that you initially received from Majestic Eye. Very cool. Wow. Wow, trademark. I don't know if I could trademark that, but that is a thing. We all look forward to your streams and the knowledge you impart to all of us. Well, thank you very much, Big Beezy. Thanks for being here. And what's up, Yogo? Welcome. Yeah, that's the thing. We do play games. But they're not the same. They're not the kinds of games that draw thousands of users. Yeah, this is just a tracking stream. And I was wondering if anybody in the chat would have known it, but it is my birthday. So thank you very much, Danny, for that. I am 75 years old. It's my 75th birthday. So there's that. And what's up, Ost? I'm doing pretty good. Thanks again, Jans, for that tier 1 sub. Most Twitch games don't involve a can of beans. It's very true. Yesterday we created a I knew it. If I said it, so people were gonna blow it up. Yeah. Passport's pretty cool. If you ask it over here, we can try and get to it. And thank you, Fabi, for that hydrate. Today we are drinking citrus and green tea with electrolytes. Cheers. Good morning, Balaman. Hello, Mint Jim. Solomon. Yeah, if you put !ask, it's going to show up over here. Hello, Jabenge. We are going to celebrate when I get to 5,432 followers, because that's a very interesting number. It counts down, 5432. And it's also the default Postgres port. Thank you, Rich. I'm 75 years young, I like to say. Thank you, Balaman. Hello, Sophia. Welcome. Hello, Extavila. Hello, thank you, Aceler. Thank you, Gasish. Thanks for that sub, the student doctor. Oh, you're all too kind. Tobika says, I saw your recent video where I was configuring a map book. Just bought on eBay. What seller did I get it from? Yeah, I can show you. If you ask that question over here, I can try to get to it. And thank you very much, Sing Playthings, for those bits. But if you do !ask followed by that question, it'll appear over here, so it won't get lost in the chat. And thank you very much for the birthday wishes. You're all too kind. I look decent. Look decent than 75. I don't know what I'm going to say anymore. I don't know. 364 on birthdays. Exactly. There's 364 days a year when it's not our birthday. Wait, did something else happen? Shines Love with 100 bits. Thank you very much, Shines Love. And thank you for all the birthday wishes. Ooh, John is learning Lua. Age reveal. Thank you, Gabenja. So I'm streaming only on Twitch so that I can monetize on Twitch. So you see all these support events that are coming through. If I was dual streaming on Twitch and YouTube, I couldn't get that kind of support on Twitch. So that's the main reason I'm doing it. I'm still uploading all of my streams to YouTube, and pretty soon I got to work things out. I talked about it the other night, but I'm going to try to find a video editor and get some more edited content on YouTube. But yeah, and thank you very much, the Student Doctor, for that tier 1 sub. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah, default Postgres port. Thank you, St. Place. Thanks for those bits. My Mac is currently, right now it's running at 1080p because that's the resolution supported by my capture card. And John with a Twitch Prime sub, thank you very much. You all are too kind. We're on our way. We are on our way to a level 5 hype train. We're doing it. Nova Horizon with the tier 1 sub. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, 100 bits from Ivo. Thank you so much, Ivo, for those 100 bits. 100 bits! Check the submissions. Oh, okay. Yeah, and right now, Q&A command doesn't work. Sorry. That's the link you want. We're stress testing my server right now, which is pretty cool. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah, how is everyone? And check out St. Place. He's a member of our Live Coders team. He's also a mod here. Thank you very much to Density with the 5 gifted subs. Congrats to Elmo, Lazy Silly Bear, Pac-Man Jr., Ludragon, and Esselera. You're all members of the Coding Garden family now, and we've made it to level 5. Ah! Wow, 165%. Great work, everyone. Let's get some drop. There's a lot of new members, and I appreciate you all. Ah! Cheyenne with 100 bits. Let's drop some beans. If you do ! Drop followed by coding 5 beans, if you're a sub. Big Bad says, I dodged that gift sub successfully. Yeah. At this point, it's cool to not be a sub, right? Yeah, so I sent the link. Congrats, everyone. Wow! X Davila with 5 more gifted subs? Thank you very much, X Davila. Freeman, Rich, Jackie, Edu, Scarab, all congrats. Congrats on those subs, and thank you very much to X Davila for that. Wow! Wow, okay, yeah, let's see. Oh, did I get the KO one too? Nice! 245 bits! Pog from John. Thank you very much, John. And Destiny with another gifted sub. Oh, yeah, you didn't avoid it, Big Bad. You got singled out. You got singled out with that gift sub. Oh, you're all too kind, too kind. Okay, and thank you, Sudo Davi, for that follow. Yep. I'm not. I asked a friend. I was like, what's a good name for something where people can ask me questions, share ideas, and give submissions? And they mentioned Vox Populi, which is Latin for voice of the people. So, yeah, that's a lot of questions. And thanks again, John, for that Twitch Prime sub. Thank you. Thank you for all the supports. I'm going to go through it pretty quick, and then we'll get started answering questions. Wow! Look at all the support! Wow. You're too kind. Too kind! Wow. What do I think about the Microsoft stack? It's okay. I did C#.net for a long time. Kind of over it, honestly. But it's okay. Wow! Congrats, everyone. Congrats, congrats, congrats. All right. I dodged all the gift subs by already being sub. It's so true. Cool. Quick shout out to everyone that was a part of that hype train, and then we'll try to answer some questions, because that's why we're here. I think that's why we're here. I don't really know. But Murdoch Turner, thank you for those 100 bits. Nothing As Is with the Twitch Prime sub. Jance with the 400 bits. Danif with that Twitch Prime sub. Destiny with the tier 1 sub. Razor1 with the tier 1 sub. Razor1 with 5 gifted subs. Big Beezy with the Twitch Prime sub. Greg with the gifted sub. Shines with the 500 bits. David with the 25 bits. David with the 10 bits. Jance with the tier 1 sub. The Student Doctor with the tier 1 sub. Same Place Things with 120 bits. Shines Love with 100 bits. We are here to code. Yeah, me too. John with a Twitch Prime sub. Nova Horizon with the tier 1 sub. Ivo with 100 bits. Lucas Anicio with the Twitch Prime sub. Destiny with the 5 gifted subs. Cheyenne with 100 bits. X Davila with the 5 gifted subs. Danif with the 500 bits. Thank you very much, Danif. John with the 245 bits. Destiny with the gifted sub to Big Bad Daddy, who could not avoid getting gifted a sub. And thank you very much, Danif, for those 500 bits. Whew. All right, and thank you, Dino Green, for that follow. Let's get into it. Andrew says, "Can we see your dog?" There's 5 upvotes. Let me see if I can find a picture. But he won't. He literally will not come down the stairs. He's a very big dog, and he is afraid that he will fall down the stairs because they're very steep. Let me find a decent picture for you, and I'll share it. Wait, this. If you think we're here to code, you're new. We're here to chat with occasional incidental code. Yeah, that's kind of what happens here. Yeah, and definitely, can we get a shout out for C# Fritz? I think he's doing like a build after party right now. If you're into .NET and C#, that's definitely the place to be. Bring the camera up. I'll share this one. This one's actually, I mean, I like this one because it just gives you a scale of the dog. All right, here we go. What can I do? Dog reveal. Any plans for implementing OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect? I don't have any plans right now, but you can absolutely suggest it, and I can try to get to it eventually. But what I think you mean by that is actually implementing my own OAuth server. I've never really done that, so it would be fun to implement. I've integrated with other OAuth servers, but never actually implemented one myself. Okay, just a second. All right, if you give me a second, I will bring up a picture of the dog. One day I'll do a stream upstairs and he can just sit beside me while it's happening. Where are we? We are here. It doesn't support Twitch emotes yet, Andrew. That's on the feature list upcoming. Yeah, I don't think you're ready for this. I do not think you are ready for this picture of me and the dog. It's a weird, like, I'll say I look weird in this picture, but it just gives you a sense of scale of the dog. Are you ready? I'm not ready. I'm nervous. Here he is. His name is Panzer. He's a Saint Bernard. This is his Hedgie, right there. He sleeps with that in his mouth. He's a big dog. He's a nice dog. I like him a lot. He's great. Yeah. He's a very big doggo. Cool. Yeah, and one day we'll show him. We'll show him. Eventually I'll do a studio tour and a house tour and all that stuff. He does not. He eats dog food. Yeah, he very much reminds me of the dragon thing. That's not real. Why is dog censored? Some people might find it offensive. Okay, community app update. So I talked about it the other day. He eats a lot of dog food. What? At least 4 scoops a day, but usually like 6. I don't know. He goes through at least 1 bag a month. Yeah, he eats a lot. He does eat a lot. Okay. He's so sweet. He's the sweetest dog. Okay. But yeah, we're talking about the community app. And actually, I don't think I posted the video on YouTube yet. I can actually do that right now if I haven't. Let me see. Give me just a second. My dog's favorite programming language. I don't know. There's a joke in there somewhere, right? Oh wait, I guess I haven't I haven't uploaded it to YouTube yet. But the other night, Tuesday night, I did a stream where I was talking about the community app, which is basically an open source app that people in the community can contribute to. The update is that there is no update. Hopefully this weekend I'll have some free time to figure out what we're going to do with that, but that's the update so far. And thank you, Paul, for that follow. Backbone. I like that because it has a bone in it. We're going to work on entropy this weekend for sure. My dog's name is Panzer, like the tank, but we call him Piggy. Piggy. The best host for a database and web API. I'll tell you right now, the database for this app that you're looking at here is hosted on imlab through Heroku. So there is MongoDB Atlas, which is the officially the official MongoDB cloud hosting that's from the actual like MongoDB organization, and they acquired imlab, so you can't really create anything directly on imlab anymore. If we just search for imlab, yeah, like you can't. I believe you can't sign up on here anymore. You have to actually go through MongoDB Atlas. But if you go to Heroku, let me show that really quick, just a second. It's the landscape is changing in terms of like what is free versus what used to be free, and I'm kind of going by like not necessarily what's the best, but like what's the freest. So like if you're just getting started with development, yeah. So here's the thing. Okay, so this particular application that you're looking at. Oh, actually, no. So for this application, the backend is hosted on an AWS Lightsail server, and shines love with the gifted sub. Who is that? Who'd that go to? Congrats, Terminal Bash. You got a gifted sub. Oh, shield armor. Okay, but yeah, but wasn't there a tank called Panzer? I don't know. Hello, Autobill. But the server itself is just an AWS Lightsail server. It's Ubuntu. I set it up. It's running Nginx. That's actually running the API that this thing is running on. But it's connected to a database that's on imlab. Now, if you want to create a server that has real-time connection, like it stays up and isn't like serverless, then Heroku is kind of the only place to do that for free nowadays. It will go to sleep after a certain amount of time. And then if you want to pay for it, I think it's like $7 a month to keep it awake all the time. But to create a server that stays awake, Heroku is the way to go. Now, you probably see that I use a service, it's called Now. It used to be called Now, but it's they changed their name to Versal. This service is really cool. You can do, and actually, yeah, you could technically use Glitch. Is it glitch.me? Yeah, so this is kind of like the code pen of backend development. So you could technically put things here. I haven't really tried to host anything here. I don't know how it works in terms of it doesn't go to sleep or whatever, but this is an option too. But I don't really consider this in the options because it's not like they don't really have a command line tool. You have to do all of your editing for the most part in their web editor, which is a little awkward if you're used to doing other things. Thank you, Procrastinator Mastermind. Very much appreciated. What's up, Codephobia? Oh, that's true. Yeah. So if you have the AWS free tier, you could technically create a micro, or actually, yeah, T2 micro EC2 instance that's free for a year. But if you need to pay for it, I use Lightsail because you can get an instance for like $3.50. It's one of the cheapest I've found, at least in the US. Yeah. There's also Versal, which I use a lot for static deployments. And I do deploy some Node.js APIs here. But the thing about Versal is that they only support serverless deployments. So you couldn't deploy like a real-time socket API here because it's serverless. It only spins up and then goes right back down. It doesn't stay up to maintain a persistent connection. Versal is great for static websites. And then there's also, if you're looking for just a static website host, surge.sh is also free and really easy. Install the command line tool, type surge, and it instantly deploys the front end. So I would say my preferred things for backend are Versal or Heroku, depending on the scenario. And then if I really need something really custom, I'll use AWS Lightsail. Yeah, it's somewhere between infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, because basically a Lightsail instance is really just an EC2 instance, but they're hiding all of the EC2 details from you. And you actually can't control a lot of those details. They kind of just give you a prepackaged thing. Yeah, so, but I do like Lightsail. Oh, Gateway supports WebSockets. Cool. I was helping someone debug some AWS stuff yesterday, and I just, it's too much work, especially with API Gateway. Like, you have to create your endpoints, and then, especially if you're trying to do, like, cores, you have to enable cores, and then that gets it weird and interesting, and then there's, like, access levels if you're trying to integrate that with Cognito. I don't know. AWS is a mess. I do not recommend it for beginners at all, but it is a thing. Okay. Versal, Heroku. For databases, use MongoDB Atlas, or if you sign up on Heroku and you create a thing, create an app, you can add a resource that is actually an imlab resource. So instead of having to go through MongoDB Atlas with their new interface, it's somewhat confusing for new people. If you go through Heroku and then add a Mongo resource to your instance, it actually still takes you to the imlab interface. And that's actually where this database is hosted. So those are my preferences. For SQL databases, I would use probably Heroku as well. They have a similar thing. I don't know. Yeah, Versal works for really anything backend, really anything that could be deployed to an AWS serverless item. Can be deployed on Versal. You may have better control of backups if you self-host. That if you back up, that is exactly. And I don't back up because I don't care. If I lose it, I'll just redeploy it. Is this a good CSS framework? I've never seen that from W3 Schools. Usually W3 Schools isn't the best resource, but what's up, Mr. Demon Wolf? Everyone should check out Mr. Demon Wolf. Click that link. Let's see. Firebase Cloud Functions. That's another thing. The thing is, yeah, it's all very confusing. That's about what I was about to say, Leo. There's too many options. What I liked was when for a while, at least when I first got started in Node.js development, Heroku was like the go-to thing for deployment because it was so easy. Like you have a command line tool, there's a web interface, super easy. Now there's lots of different tools. I don't know. It's all confusing. I would say if you want something easy, just go with Heroku. And let's take a look at this. w3schools.com. I would say this isn't really a framework. This is a tutorial, a guide on using CSS. This is not bad. A lot of people do not like W3 Schools as a resource. Sometimes their examples are outdated or sometimes wrong. But for the basic stuff, this is totally fine. I would recommend, though, you go to the Mozilla Developer Network, MDN. And, I mean, you can search for anything CSS here, like CSS block. You can learn about CSS, and then we can look at, yeah, I would probably go here. I would say this should be your resource for learning CSS, not W3 Schools. Though it's totally valid. I mean, they might tell you something that's wrong. It just won't work. CSS isn't that dangerous if it's wrong. But yeah. Someone mentioned Firebase. Only if, yeah, I rarely reach for Firebase, mainly because it's like a hosted thing and you're writing Firebase specific code to talk to that Firebase database. Whereas when you're dealing with something like MongoDB or SQL, that database could be hosted anywhere. It's not locked down to a specific entity or provider or library or whatever. Yeah. If I needed to host a Knucks site and also a Node CMS, where would I host it? So Knucks is server-side rendered view, similar to Next, which is server-side rendered React. Technically, you could use Versal for that. And then the Node CMS, it gets tricky deploying the Node CMS to Versal because it is not built to be serverless. Though there is a build pack, which you've seen me use on stream, potentially, where you can deploy a Node app to Versal, even though it's like an Express app. But, I don't know, Heroku. That's my answer. Use Heroku. What's up, chat? Yeah, and this only works for a little bit, though, because on the free plan, you're only limited to a certain number of hours per day of uptime. So if you reach that number of hours, then your instance stops altogether. Yeah. So Heroku it's just nice. It's one of the easiest things to use. You don't have to do a lot of configuration. It does potentially cost more money, though. So if you do want to go from the free level to the Dino, which is a dedicated instance, that costs $7 a month. And you could potentially save money if you were deployed to like AWS Light Sale and then you configured your own server. You only paid like $5 a month or something. Yeah. Image source throws a CORS error. That's something else. All right. I've not tried Sanity. All right. Let's get on to this question. Would I be open to work on a larger project with the community? I've done this in the past, working on a game made in Unity that was guided by a big YouTuber. By this, I mean a website, not the community app, but something people could learn from making their own CRUD. Yeah, so this is very much related to the community app. I'll show you the Coding Garden community repo. Like, we started this. It lost steam, and I want to revamp it. I just got to figure out how, because we did some things wrong initially, just in terms of not that we did things wrong, but I didn't do the things necessary to make the project succeed, and it lost all steam, and nobody's really working on it anymore. But I want to spend some time pretty soon to get it up and going again, but I have some work to do to make sure that it won't fail again. But that's what it was. It was a totally open source thing that anybody could contribute to, and the main thing being is it's very open and inviting to beginner programmers or new people that are new to open source, because we're all here to learn and all that good stuff. So more to come on that. When is the next Entropy Chat stream? Saturday. I'll do it on Saturday. Quick stretch. And thank you, Cool8G, for that follow. A community clone of a website where you can order food. Yeah. This particular community app was just based around like a coding garden app. So like you could see videos, you could see one of the main things was like getting push notifications of when I go live. And that's kind of why I want to revamp it, because I started working on a separate mobile app that I was able to get up and going in like half a day that is in alpha right now that some people have installed, and I do give a push notification when I go live. And I potentially want to turn that into the community app. But yeah. And thank you, Ozma. Oh, not thank you, but yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here. Hello. I didn't see what Eric asked. Entropy Chat was the chats, the people watching's idea. If you watch that stream, people voted on it. Yeah. Chad says, I like the idea of the app. We can all drive the features of it too. Exactly. And that's the other thing, learning to work on a team. Because we had a whole dedicated Discord. We had a channel for stand-up. I'll show you on YouTube. I had an entire playlist that taught people the basics of like Agile and project management and feature branch workflow and all the things you would need to work on a team. And thank you very much, Procrastinator Mastermind, for those 500 bits. Are you Mastermind just on a different account? You don't have to answer that, because I assume that you kind of just want to fly under the radar. Maybe you're a different Mastermind. But thank you very much. Coding Garden Community. Probably not. Cool. Yeah, so here's this playlist. So I just did a bunch of videos that were very introductory, talking about what is Agile, what is Scrum, how it applies to the app that we were building, how do you contribute, how do you feature branch workflow, because that's what we're doing. Basically all the things you would need to know as a beginner to start contributing to that project. And so I did that, but it lost steam, like I mentioned. Yeah. A good front-end error logging library. Is it better to set up a logging server myself or use services like Sentry? I would definitely use a service, basically because like they back up your logs. You can view them in the browser, all that good stuff. I don't have any experience with like JavaScript specific libraries. Not Mastermind, only a procrastinator. Oh, you're Super Tux. I recognize the icon. Nice. Let us noobs contribute on it. Yeah, that's what I want. Be able to contribute on the app. But yeah, Sentry's cool. I also like, I've used LogRocket professionally. All that good stuff. LogRocket is really cool because if you set it up in a certain way, you can actually get screen recordings of the users using your website. Murdoch with the gifted sub. Thank you very much, Murdoch, who gifted it to themselves. But thank you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. But yeah, LogRocket is cool because you can look at the logs and you can actually get a video rundown of what happened, what the user was doing when those errors happened. And if you're using like React and Redux, you can get a Redux log, you get network tracking. LogRocket is cool. Check that one out too. Oh yeah, I said front. Yeah, LogRocket is really good for front end. You might be able to use it for back end, but there's a front end library that I've used. And thank you, Tilico, for that follow. Yeah, we're gonna do Entropy on Saturday. And hello, Mint Jim, welcome. Have I tried Blitz.js/Redwood? Never heard of it. What is the best way to secure an API backend? This is a very big question. I mean, there's not just one thing that you can do. I think that the main thing that you want to look out for is if you're building a front end that talks to that back end, don't just think about how your front end interacts with your back end, right? Because you're writing front end code that might prevent someone from going to a certain page because they don't have the right permission, right? But that's all front end code. If you don't do those same restrictions on the back end, anyone could like figure out what endpoints are being hit and call those endpoints basically go around your front end. So I think the best way to think about your backend is to think about it as a totally separate thing and try to think about it like from the mind of a hacker. Like if I were somebody that was trying to gain access to this API and I didn't have access to it, what are all the things I would try to do? I would try to figure out what endpoints I could hit. I would try to figure out, does this endpoint really require that I'm logged in, or can I just call it anyways? So I think that's the main thing. that's like an overarching thing. There's a lot more that you can do. There's a ton more you can do. But one thing is definitely check out Helmet.js. If you're working in Node.js, this is a really simple thing that you can just add in. It adds a few secure headers. If you ever run your site through, I think it's the Mozilla Observatory. I think it's it, yeah. Hello, at Lucio, welcome. This site is pretty interesting. You can put any website into it. Let's actually do it with vox.coding.garden. And I'm probably gonna get like a B or a C. I haven't run it through this tool before. Let's go. Scan in progress. And so, oh, I got an F. I failed. All right, I'll what do I want? My English grade, yeah. So put F's in the chat. But this site is really interesting because it tells you what you can do, and yeah. So and this is why. So these three these headers right here, I'm not setting, and because I guess in this backend I actually didn't add Helmet, and Helmet will actually automatically set those headers. Now, here's the thing. For my particular website, it is an API. I'm not doing any sort of server-side rendering or anything like that, so I really, for the most part, wouldn't be vulnerable to iframe attacks. Also, my site is not loading. It doesn't load JavaScript. It just returns JSON. So I really wouldn't be vulnerable to cross-site scripting. But if you set these headers and your website does those sorts of things, you can be protected from that. And I guess the other thing is the API here is mostly open. There aren't really any endpoints where you can modify things, which is why I haven't added a lot of this stuff. Okay, so there's that. I can't believe I got an F just for that. But one of the things you really do want to look for is HSTS, which it says I'm not doing, but I'm pretty sure I am doing. Maybe I'm just doing a redirect, but HSTS makes it so that if your website works over SSL or HTTPS, and it sets a certain header, and it makes it so that the browser will not load the HTTP version of your website. Yeah. Yeah, expecting a B or a C and then getting an F. Congrats on my F. Well, thank you very much. But the cool thing about this tool is there are things I can do to fix it. And I'll say, as an experienced developer, these are things that I actually don't need to worry about based on what this website actually does. You don't log into it. All of it's just pulling in Twitch chats and then organizing them. But yeah, so check out that. Can I show a quick demo on how to listen easy peasy when calling APIs and using an error or success responses? Yeah, actually, that sounds great, Sledge Dog. I saw your chat in the Discord. I didn't have a chance to respond, but let's do it. So, because I did have I think there was like a React Q&A. Yeah, and then there's the playground. Cool. So we can use this React app that we started working on during the React Q&A, and I can just show you really quick how because I think I already have Easy Peasy set up in here. If you look at the store. Yeah, we have an auth store. Cool. But I could create a, let's do this. I could create an Easy Peasy store that actually requests the data that's behind this Vox Populi site. If you go to api.coding.garden/vox/populi, that actually returns this big ol' object. You got an array of questions, you got an array of ideas, and you've got an array of submissions. And then I iterate over this data to actually show you this UI that you're looking at. But I could show you really quick how we could get this data into our React app with Easy Peasy. Let's do that. Sounds like fun. I'm missing a lot. Yeah, so HSTS basically makes it so that if there is some sort of attack that tries to redirect you to the HTTP site, which would load the site without encryption, HSTS just totally blocks that from happening, which it is important to enable. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna keep going on Saturday. I don't think we're gonna get to WebRTC on Saturday. There's a lot we need to do to just get the rest of the app working. But yeah, I see it as a long-term project. Yeah. Where do I host the Coding Garden website? It's all on an AWS Lightsail server. Increase the font size in Mozilla. I don't know. Okay, but Sledge Dog, let's do this right now. We're gonna basically use Easy Peasy to load some data, make an API request. Let me just make sure I can get this running. Yeah, Vox Populi is on GitHub. But yeah. Yeah, WebRTC would be fun. I think eventually, down the line, we will add that to the Entropy app. Probably Code Wars. Is that it? Stick Alien? Yeah, I mean, Code Wars, Hacker Rank, I feel is more like job-oriented. Code Wars is more about like practice. And thank you very much, Infected Node. Happy birthday to you too. 2 vulnerabilities. Oh no, that's fine. Let's just start it up. I use Nginx for subdomains. Yep. Cool. So the thing that you're looking at right now, I'll share the code. It is Andrew. It is. I'm 75 years old. It's officially an age reveal. I'm 75. What did I want? Oh yeah, there was the React playground. Here it is. Thank you, Chad. 2 vulnerabilities. Let's start it up. I'm 75 years old. Yep. Here we go. Okay, I'm not really 75, but I felt like that's just old enough that you wouldn't actually believe me when I tell you that I'm that I am that age. Okay, so this GitHub repo is the app that you're looking at right now. We built it on stream when I was basically just answering a bunch of questions about React. So if you look at that code base, it's basically if you look at the code, it's a little messy right now, but basically there are things that are commented out because I was showing different ways to do things. And at this point, it's a very basic site that just does Firebase login. So I can click login. That'll launch a pop-up to log in with GitHub. And then it says I'm now logged in. And I can see my name and I'm logged in and all that good stuff. Regardless, we're actually, I think let's just do this. Let's make a separate route to show the Vox Populi data loading through Easy Peasy. So I'm just going to add a route /Vox, and then we're going to load the Vox component. Let me just get this going. We're going to create a new file called vox.jsx. We'll create a simple component. Let's import in React. I technically do DevOps, yeah. We used to have a dedicated DevOps person at my work, but now they're just part-time, so I end up just doing a lot of my own DevOps work. DevOps. And hello, Fasoon. What's up? Okay, we have our Vox component. Actually, are we using TypeScript in this? No, we're not. Great. We're not using TypeScript. So this is just a simple functional component. And right now it's just going to return an H1 that says hello. No, it's going to say Vox. And then we'll export this default. So export default Vox. Cool. And then we need to import the Vox component into here so that this route makes sense. Have I seen precommit.com? I have not. Import Vox from Vox. All right. Now, if I try to go to Vox, I have some redirect logic. Let's get rid of it. Let's actually just get rid of all this redirect logic. Because right now, I just want to show you Vox. There we go. Okay. So we get to the page. You can forget about all the other stuff. What I basically want to show you is how we can hook this up to Easy Peasy. Now, Easy Peasy is a React library. No, that's not it. React library for... That's not it either. Come on. There. React library for managing state. It's built on top of Redux and Eimer, and it makes it really, really easy to create global state that uses actions and thunks and all that good stuff. And thank you, Mario, for that follow. Cool. So this is the library that we're working with. I'm going to skip all the details because this question is really focused at someone that kind of has already worked a little bit with Easy Peasy. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a new module, and we're going to call it Vox. Let's call it voxstore.js. And here's the thing. Right now, this folder structure is ugly. I did that on purpose because there was specifically a question about how do I structure my React apps. So it's ugly on purpose. We're going to leave it that way for now. Eventually, I'm going to come back to this in like some future stream and talk about how to organize files. Okay, but we're going to do something like this inside of our Vox store. So I don't need create store. I just need actions and thunks. So I'm going to say export default. And I am describing specifically the module, the Vox store, and Schwainomac with the 200 bits. Thank you very much, Schwainomac. Much appreciated. Too kind. Too kind. I've heard of Recoil. I haven't checked it out, though. Oh, thank you, Schwain. Improv, write test for entropy. Easy Peasy is like Vuex, but it's specifically for Reacts. And thank you, Wannabe Game Dev, for that follow. Eimer is an immutable data structures library. So typically when you're working in React and in Redux, you do not mutate state. You always create a copy of state. And Eimer is a library that makes it much... What's the word? It's a lot easier to create and manipulate. And by manipulate, I mean create a copy and update that copy of state with Eimer. Whereas if you're not using a library for immutability, you're typically like spreading your state, like ... and then you're updating all of your properties. But that gets really cumbersome. Eimer makes it so that it looks like you're mutating state, but under the hood, it's making a copy. Yeah. That was me. Thank you, Mr. Demon Wolf, for that host. I don't know. Eventually. Okay, so this is my store for Vox. And what specifically the question that we're trying to answer right now comes from Sledgedog. How do I listen to when calling an API for error and success? Basically, we need to do the classic thing of calling the API, getting the data back from the API, show an error if there was an error, show loading if there was a loading. So what I like to do is in my Easy Peasy store is I have a loading variable that's initially false. And then we're going to have actions that can update that loading variable. And I have an error variable that's initially an empty string. And we'll have actions that can set that error string if there was an error. And then I have like a data variable, which is has some initial state. It could actually be null to begin with. Data is null. So this is my initial state. I have loading, error, and data. And then I can use all of these things inside of my component to actually work with that data and show a loading message if we're waiting to get the loading message and all that good stuff. And thank you, Schwainomac, for the 100 bits. 100 bits. Okay, so we have this state. Now we need actions that can update that state. So I need an action that's like set loading. This is an action that takes in a function that gives us access to the state and like the loading, the new value that we're trying to set it to. And because this is using Eimer under the hood, I can just say state.loading equals loading, like that. My linter is complaining about no param reassign. Let's see, I can just disable that for the entire file. Because with Eimer, we actually do reassign the parameters. It's my birthday. This is an action that takes in a function. Oh, yeah. Okay, so whenever we want to change this state, we're going to call this function setLoading. Great. We need a very similar action for error. We're going to call it setError. And then we're going to take in the error message. And then whenever there's an error, we call this action to set the error. And very similarly, we need an action to update data. So we're going to get our data, and we'll say a state.data equals data. Now, this looks like boilerplate. It kind of is boilerplate, but this is so much less boilerplate than you would have to write if you were actually using Redux and like core Redux. Someone before mentioned, what do you call it? Redux Boilerplate or something like that. There's a new library that comes around that looks like it does something similar to this. But basically, by setting up our actions this way, whenever we update our state, we're going to see in the Redux dev tools that these particular actions were called. So that's the benefit of that. Okay, now we need a thunk. We need something that's actually going to call the API to get that data to load it into the store. So we'll say get data. This is going to be a thunk. Takes in an async function. It gives us access to all of the actions, so we can call those actions based on the data that we get. So typically, the first thing we want to do when we're getting the data is we'll say actions.set loading to true, because by default, when I call this, we're loading, right? We're about to call an API. Then we probably need like a try catch, because the try is going to attempt to call the API, but if it fails, the catch is going to get it. Thank you, Nova Horizon, for that hydrate. Redux Toolkit, that's it. Thank you, Mercy. Yeah, that's the thing that kind of looks like this and reduces boilerplate with Redux, yeah. And thank you, Minchimp, for that posture check. And thank you, Luke Austin, for that follow. Okay, so in the try, we're going to try to call the API. So I'll say response equals await. We're just going to use fetch. And like I showed, we're just going to call the Vox Populi API. Where did it go? api.coding.garden/vox/populi. Cool. So this is the API we're going to call. And then when it comes back, we're going to get the JSON. And then this JSON is the actual data that we want to set on our state. So then we can call that action. We can say actions.setData, and we'll pass in the JSON. Great. If there was an error, we want to show that error in the UI. So that's where we're going to call our set error. So we're going to say actions.setError. And we'll just pass in error.message if it has one. It might have one. And then after all of this, we'll set loading to false, because at this point, we're done talking to the API, and we want to no longer show a loading spinner or anything like that. So yeah. Okay, so this is our easy peasy store, and you can follow this pattern for like really any API that you're talking to. This could be any API URL, whatever it is, but we can now basically use this state inside of our component to determine what we show, and we can show an error message if it fails, different things like that. Okay, but now let's actually use it. So inside of this component, we need to use the store state. Let's see how we were doing that in here. Let's see. Yeah, we just bring it in from easy peasy. Easy peasy. So we basically need the state. So first we need to bring in that loading, that error, and that data. We're going to bring that into the component here. So I'm going to say loading, error, data, that equals use store state. And this accepts a callback function, so we get the state. And we, in particular, we want the state.vox. We want the vox submodule from the state. Yeah, and before I forget, we actually need to add that submodule. So basically what we need to do is we need to take this exported object and add it to our main store. So our main store had an auth submodule, but we're also going to add this vox module. So we'll just say import vox from vox store. Cool. So that should add it here. And then we should get access to it. And for now, I'm just going to show all three of these variables. And we can see what they are in the UI. So I'm just going to do a pre-tag. And I'll do, just to make sure that it's all hooked up and working, let's do json.stringify an object with loading, error, and data. And then we'll do this. I just realized somebody redeemed a focus mode earlier, and I didn't actually do the focus mode. So you could have your points back. I'm gonna cook myself a real nice dinner. That's my plans for today. Okay, let's see if this worked. Object is undefined. Let's see. Let's see if we can actually just get back the store state. I want a refund. Somebody should be able to refund your points. And thank you, Frosker, for that follow. Did I put the box in the wrong store in the store? Let's see. So what we should be able to do, so this is our Vox store. It's just exporting an object. And then in the main store, oh, I did. Thank you, Doc. Thank you. This needs to be there. Yeah, you did it. So we have our Vox store and we have our auth store. Yeah, hopefully that does it. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So now we can see that we're pulling in the state from easy peasy, right? We see loading is false, error has nothing on it, and data is null. So what we need to do now is if we're loading, we're going to show like a loading message. Yeah, you are correct. And so we kind of just need a conditional render. I'm going to put back the destructuring here. So now we really just need a conditional render. If we are loading, then we're going to show like an H2 or an H3 that says loading. Otherwise, we have the data, so we'll show the data. And I think again, I'm just gonna do this. And we're only gonna put the data in there. The best UI is no UI. Okay, so if we're loading, show a loading message. If we're not loading, let's show the data. And right now the data is null. Yeah, so data is null. But basically what I want is when the component mounts, I want to fire off that action so that it tries to get the data and then sets it back. The other thing is I should probably also show an error message. So right here, I'm just going to say, if error is a thing, then we're going to show the error message there. Otherwise not. And I know, I could do error and, but then this is a string, this isn't a Boolean, this is what I want. So if there's an error, we're going to show it in the UI. If we're loading, we're going to show loading, and if we have data, we're going to show data. Now we actually want to call that API, so let's do it. All right, see you later, Sophia. Thanks for hanging out. So now we need to use that get data action. So we're going to get data, use store actions. We want actions, and we want to grab actions.box. Okay. So now we need like a kind of like a component did mount, because when the component mounts, I want to call get data, which is going to call the API, get the data back, set an error if there was an error. For that, we need to bring in use effect. And this is going to be like our component did mount. So we'll say use effect. Really, I want an empty array of dependencies. I only want this thing to run once and only once, so I leave it empty, and then inside of here, we'll just call get data, just like that. And what this does is when the component mounts, it calls the API. The store is going to set loading to true, so we're going to see loading. Then when we get the data back, the store is going to set data, so we should actually see the data there. Let's get rid of that. And then if there was an error, we'll see the error in the UI as well. All right, so let's see what happens. Loading. Loading. Oh, I think there might have been an error. Let's just wait for it. Oh, it works. Wow. So because there was no error, I actually got that data back from the API, and then we're displaying it, right? But let's say there was an error. Wow. Lovely. So if there was an error, then we want to make sure that error shows in the UI. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to change the URL to be something that I know is broken, and that should return an error. So if I try to do this, we just show the error, general error, message not found. Oh. Here's the thing. Because I'm using fetch, I actually need to account for if the response is not okay. Actually, we need to do this. We'll say if response.okay, then we're going to do this. Else, Actually, we'll do this. Because I know that this, here's the thing. I know that this is a JSON API. Why was the first request so slow? Because it's a lot of data. That's why. I gotta do some optimization or something like that. I always know that I'm getting back JSON, so that should be okay. If it was okay, we set data. Else, we're gonna throw a new error. Wow. With JSON.message. And so this will throw the error, this will catch the error, and then set the error. So we should just see not found. So now we're actually seeing an error. Why not Axios? Because I didn't want to install it. That's the main reason why. Why are we seeing null there? Oh, okay. If what I kind of want to do is this, like, if there's an error, show the error. Otherwise, show the rest of my application. Because then it's like a nested ternary. I don't know. You could work out the best way to do all of this. But basically, you decide, like, if there's an error, show the error. You could do, if there's an error and we're not loading, then don't try to show the data. Yes, Vox Populus. And we're seeing null right there because technically loading is false. So we're just seeing that the data is null. One thing that I should do just to make sure that it clears out previous errors or previous data is I could say actions.set data to null for sure. Like, just in case we're like calling this API multiple times. And then now if I change it back, Vox Populi should work. Loading. And then we get back to data. Yeah, if I had more time, we'd actually like show it, but I don't have to. This UI is basically a representation of this data here. Cool. So I'll push this up to GitHub to that exact same repo that I showed you earlier. But for now, I'll throw this in a gist, just so you. I kind of am just chatting. I'm okay with being in just chatting. I really am, because we do a lot of chatting here. Easy peasy. Example.js. Yeah, this is fun. Cool. And I'll tell you, I have followed this pattern so many times with Easy Peasy. The thing is, you actually could extract this to a module and like reuse it for different types of API calls. But for the most part, who was it again? It was Sledge Dog. Yeah, there's that. And then I'll send you the component too, but the component's pretty easy. Somebody's hacking me. I think somebody's just throwing a load test against it. That's okay. That's why we did this stream. Yeah, if we look at the network tab, we can see. Oh, it worked. I think it's really just being load tested right now. There's a bunch of people that are hitting it. And yeah, and that's fine, because it's fine. Whoever you are, stop. Thank you, Mint Jim. Yeah, good to hear, Sledge Dog. And hello, Allison. Thank you for that follow. I missed a lot of chats, but that's okay. Stop it. I know you mentioned it before that I used to code in .NET. What was the deciding factor on switching over to Node? Here's the thing. When you're building web APIs, you are nowadays dealing with JSON data. That's just the way it is. I mean, it used to be there are other data formats like XML, but for the most part these days you're dealing with JSON data. And Node.js is a JavaScript runtime. JSON is supported natively. It's really, really easy to build an API that can send JSON and receive JSON and all that stuff because it's just supported in the language itself. Whereas with any other language, you have to find a parsing library, you have to do serialization, you have to create types that match up to all these JSON things. Whereas with Node, you can just use it. Some people don't like that flexibility, but the thing is when I was doing .NET and C#, I actually did a lot of things with the reflection API and this idea that you can actually inspect classes and look at private properties and update properties without actually knowing ahead of time what those properties are, because I was creating UIs in WPF for like dynamically editing objects, but they're C# objects, so usually ahead of time you have to know what the type is to be able to display a table with all the properties. But I would use reflection to figure out what the properties are, dynamically display them. You could use reflection to get setters and getters and dynamically do all of that. With JavaScript, you just do it. You don't have to do anything like that. It's just supported by the language itself. So that's the one of the main reasons I really started to like JavaScript was all of these dynamic things that I was trying to do in C# are just supported natively in JavaScript. Now, there's a time and a place for both things, right? You don't always need that kind of stuff in C#, but I think that was one of the main things that kind of made me fall in love with it. And thank you, Sledge Dog, for those 500 bits. Thank you so much. What are my thoughts on Passport? So Passport is definitely one of the go-tos. One of the go-tos for setting up authentication. But the thing is, there's a new kid on the scene, and their name is Grant. And Grant is a super simple library. The thing is it's really not as full featured as Passport. Passport tries to be all the stuff that you need. Grant is a very simple library with integrations with all of these OAuth providers by default. Like, you don't have to, whoa, stop it. You don't have to install separate libraries to get this kind of support. It just supports them by default. And you can use Grant. But the thing about Grant is it really is just the OAuth part. It's the part that's going to send you to their website. When they come back, verify that the token is valid and all that good stuff. If you want to actually get the user profile, which you typically do with Grant, or which you typically do with OAuth, you also want to look at Grant profile. I give sub for a streamer I'm not following. Well, welcome, Nova Horizon. Are you going to follow? You don't have to. And thank you, Zent, for that follow, and Sandy for that follow, and Allison for that follow. Yeah, get hacked. Cool. So you would technically need both Grant and Grant Profile, which are two different libraries. Now, I really like this library. I really like how simple it is, and the configuration is exactly the same no matter... the base configuration is exactly the same no matter which OAuth provider you add in. Oh, someone else. Oh, okay. Thank you. No, I'm sorry, I forgot. Thank you very much for your explicit sub to me. Gritsum is pretty cool. I haven't used it myself, but this is kind of like the Gatsby of the Vue world. It's pretty cool. I want to build things while watching you. Well, thank you, Rakeem. Yeah, and exactly. This is where I learned about Grant, is Feathers.js uses it under the hood. But yeah, I really like Grant. That said, Passport.js is still totally valid. People still use it. But if you're looking for something, check out Grant. It's pretty cool. Don't even remember. I mean, I've seen you in St. Plays Things chat. I know I've seen you, Nova Horizon. I just thought maybe you weren't following. I don't know. Yeah, I saw there was a on the Passport.js website. The connection is not secure. And here's the thing that is a little bit tricky about Passport is all of the OAuth integrations are community libraries. So if you search for Google, look at all these ones that you have to choose from. Now, you'd probably choose the one with the most stars, but I've had issues before where I chose the one with the most stars and it actually was broken. And so that's the issue with Passport.js. Passport is the base library, and then there are plugins for all the other different OAuth libraries, whereas Grant has most of it built in. So yeah, check that out. Short summary of when to use a relational database and when to go for NoSQL. I'm sure you could plane it so it would actually click for me. Okay, here's the thing. If you are dealing with relationships, you probably want a SQL database. Now, okay, I mean, I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but I think the main reason that MongoDB got so popular for Node.js and JavaScript developers is, MongoDB itself, I believe they use the V8 runtime. You can the interaction with the database is JavaScript. So it makes it really, really easy to interact with that database. And because it's schemaless, you don't have to have all the upfront work of designing your schema and designing your relationships. Now, that said, a lot of people use something like MongoDB. And I know there are other NoSQL databases out there, but most of the time in the Node.js world, when you're talking about NoSQL, people think of MongoDB. it is really, really easy to use like a library like Mongoose, which gives you relations in a NoSQL database, but it's all at the library level. I don't know. Yeah, and Chad is saying, I like Mongo to avoid migrations, but frequently add Mongoose to have relations still. Yeah, so would you say some people are abusing NoSQL when they really should go for relationships? Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, when you're working on an application with like so much more data, like it's not just some play app that you're learning Node.js with, you probably really need a relational database, because you're going to see your queries start to slow down with MongoDB, because all of those joins that are happening with Mongoose are happening at the application layer, right? It literally has to do multiple queries and then put it all back together in application code versus within the database itself. So the short summary is, if you have relations, like you have, let's say you're building an app for a vet, and you have users, and users have pets. Users can have many pets. You can implement that in MongoDB. Yeah, emotes don't work just yet. But technically, you could create a user store, and you could create a pets store, and each pet could have an object ID, which is user ID, and then you could write application code, which smacks them back together, which is what Node.js and MongoDB developers are doing. So, in the real world, when you have explicit business requirements and you have explicit business logic that you need to implement, you should probably go for a relational database. Now, the other thing about NoSQL is it supports like scaling really well. So that's really when it comes down to whether you should use a SQL database versus a NoSQL database. Because with NoSQL, a lot of the NoSQL databases have like sharding just built in. You don't really have to do anything extra for that. Which basically makes it so that you can spread your database across multiple nodes and have potentially faster queries, because you don't have to search one database that has all the data inside of it. I don't know, I'm talking really long about this. I have used NoSQL in production, yeah. The one that comes to mind is Cassandra DB. But the thing about Cassandra is you actually, even though it is a NoSQL database, you still have to define your schema. Like, you still technically have to create your schema before you can start querying it and inserting data. But it does other things, and it doesn't have relationships built in. I don't know. I really don't know. Sharding. No. Sharding. Sharding is when you spread your database across multiple nodes. Yugabyte DB. I haven't heard of those, no. HBase is another NoSQL DB based on Google Bigtable. Yeah. So I'll say this. I don't have that much experience with like really, really big data and like having to scale across like millions of users. I don't have that experience. Most of the apps that I've built are for maybe a few hundred or a few thousand users. And a simple MySQL database works just fine for that. I've heard of CouchDB. I haven't actually used it though. So that's my answer. Mainly people are abusing NoSQL to force it into having relationships where you probably want a SQL database. You would potentially get faster queries. But at the end of the day, you have to think about how much data are you actually dealing with, and go with that. What was the other thing? Yeah, and the other thing about NoSQL is or like MongoDB specifically, is it's really, really easy and nice for prototyping, because you don't have to think about the schema ahead of time. You basically just have to, you can just create some document stores and figure out the schema as you go along, and that makes it a lot easier. But yeah, I don't know. Codephobia says, sharding becomes problematic when using relations because Mongo will try to shard collections together, but isn't aware of those relations. So the relation could live on a different server entirely. Yeah, so you could have like this user pet scenario where the user is on this node and the pets are on this node, and now you have a really slow query because when you want to join them, you have to touch two different nodes. Yeah. NoSQL is optimal when there isn't homogeneous data, but you should be asking why that's the case. Yes. Right, like why do you not need a schema? And I have come across scenarios where you're just dealing with dirty data that maybe doesn't have all the properties that you would need. C# Fritz with the raid! Welcome, everyone. Welcome, raiders. Welcome to the show. We are currently, and welcome to the Coding Garden. We are currently just doing a Ask Me Anything kind of Q&A thing. There are already 53 questions in the queue. But the first person to ask a question that's from the raid, I will attempt to answer. I'll say that. But welcome, everyone. Can we get a shout out for C# Fritz? He is the leader of the Live Coders team. And yeah, welcome. What were you working on? Actually, I was watching your stream earlier. Oh yeah, there's too many chats. They all just came in at the same time. But I was watching your stream earlier. It was the build after party. Well, welcome raiders, welcome, and thank you, Am I Heavy, for that follow. Yeah, my overlay can't keep up. There's a lot happening. And yeah, check out C# Fritz. Drop a follow. Our lead, yes, C# Fritz is our fearless leader of the Live Coders team. There's a lot happening. Thank you, Relevant Jesse, for that follow. They were streaming null in null. Did it say that? My bot might be broken. Oh, no. Oh, no, Lily Hazel. Yeah, it says that for Lily Hazel because she hasn't streamed. Yeah. Cool. There's a lot going on. Wow. Thank you, Motown Andy, for that follow. From the raid, tabs or spaces? I prefer a 2-space tab. And what's up, Bald Bearded Bearder? He's also a member of our Live Coders team. Click that link, drop a follow. This is my break timer. Those of you just coming in for the raid, maybe you've been sitting down for a while. Feel free to stand up, take a quick stretch. But yeah, I prefer a 2-space tab. But I was pairing with Auka, and I think he kind of convinced me that just using tabs is better because 2 different developers can choose their tab size and collaborate. But I don't know. I use the Airbnb style guide, and it uses a 2-space tab, and I've just been using that style guide for the longest time, so that's why I do it. But thank you for that question. Yeah, and for those of you that are just joining, there are a lot of questions here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all of them, but you can do !ask followed by your question. It'll show up here. If you go to vox.coding.garden, you can see this list of all the questions that have been asked. You can submit things. I don't know what that's for. Basically, I just built this last night. We're trying it out today. I had a local version, but this is a version that works publicly. And you can also upvote other questions too. And thank you, Code Hustle, for that follow. 2-space tab. Nice. 2-space tab. Yeah, and I'll show you. So I don't know if you've seen it, but there's the Airbnb style guide for JavaScript. And I just use this. Well, if you go to this repo, they have a breakdown of all the different stuff. But if you look at white space, use soft tabs of the space character set to 2 spaces. And this is why I do it. But they have an ESLint plugin, which is what I use inside of my editor to make sure that I'm adhering to that code style. And so that does it. Where did I learn all this stuff? Just through time. I've been a professional developer for at least 10 years. I went to university and got a computer science degree. I've just been doing all this stuff for a long time. Yeah, I'm just answering questions. Tabs are also for developers with accessibility issues. Right. That makes sense. There's a lot of hype for the 2-space tab. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Gazisha, for those links. We're just trying this out. I think someone was load testing me earlier, and the site went down for a second, but that's okay. Can we create multiple merge requests on the same branch? Yeah, you can absolutely do that. When you're working on a big team, you typically might see that. There will be multiple pull requests open, all trying to get into the same branch. Now, if one of them gets merged before the other, you could run into merge conflicts for the other ones, and those have to be resolved. But yeah, that's a thing. Fibonacci spaces indentation. So for all the new viewers, this is Doc. He's awesome. He's a mod here, and he's also a troll. But he's great. Doc is great. But yeah, so each indentation should be the previous 2 indentations added together. Welcome, Infomath Music. Oh, thank you, the student doctor, for that focus mode. We'll get into that in just a second. And I do prefer semicolons. Yeah, I'll say this. I used to code in C#, and I did that for 3.5 years, and I got really, really used to semicolons. So when I switched over to JavaScript, I just can't stop doing the semicolons. Yeah. 54 questions, 13 ideas. Yeah, we'll never get through them. Welcome, Aaron, as part of the raid. can I explain and maybe demonstrate rebasing in Git? I mentioned this the other day, but I don't actually, I'm a professional developer. I use Git on a daily basis. I don't really even know what the word rebasing means. I'm sure I do it. I'm sure if I'm attempting to pull in changes, I need to rebase first, but I can't explain that. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it's great to be a troll. No. I'm saying that Doc has great ideas, and he's actually very helpful when we're doing like mathy related things. And Crema Carter, thank you for that follow. Yeah. And thank you, Godek, for that follow as well. So much cleaner without the semicolons. JavaScript versus Dart. They're just very different. I mean, yeah, they're very different. There you go. Check out Liquid Oxygen. Learn Git branching. I've never done a rebase at work. I can't tell why you rebase instead of merge. Oh, you know what? Here's my guess. If you merge, there's potential that the branch you're merging from has commits that are not in the same timeline as the current branch that you're working on. So if you rebase, then you potentially won't have a merge commit. That might be why you want to do that. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm going to keep answering questions now. Oh, and we're going to enable focus mode. So this is a thing we do every now and then on the Coding Garden. You can redeem it down here for 5,000 points. I enable focus mode. And yeah, we go into emote only chat for 8 minutes. I'm sorry for all the people that just got here, but here we go. Focus. Okay. So first question, a question at the top from Mint Jim says, what's your plan with the chat when you reach 500 viewers regularly? So here's really the ultimate goal. What I really want is I want mods to have their own dashboard so that when lots of chats are coming in, they can pick and choose what are the chats that I should actually see on my screen. And so I've been using this overlay. This is an Electron app. I built this. I've been using this overlay with all the chats for a very long time. And the main reason I have this here is because I upload my streams to YouTube. And when the video is on YouTube, you lose a lot of context because you don't see the chats. So I want to always have this here, but it may get to a scenario where you're only seeing a filtered version of it instead of all of the chats. And so, yeah, mods, I'll probably give you like an hourly wage if you're going to sit here and pick and choose, like what chats should I actually see, all that good stuff. And then the other thing, this idea has been stirring around for a while, which is... What if there was a public view? Money, sure. What if there was a public view where everyone that's watching could see the same chat view, and then we could kind of crowdsource what should actually appear on my screen? So just like Vox Populi is a place for you to submit questions, what if you saw the chat in real time and then viewers could help me tag things? They could tag chats as questions. They could say that this is helpful or this is not helpful or this is a troll. And so we could kind of crowdsource the chats and that would determine what shows up on my screen. Those are the ideas that I have brewing. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do all that, but that's the plan. And thank you, Sean, for that follow. How much do I pay for my AWS server? So earlier I was mentioning mods, no more trolling. Earlier I was mentioning light sale. This is what I use for deployments. This is what Vox Populi is on right now. And I don't want that. I just want to look at the light sale pricing. I think I'm on the $20 instance. Yeah. So I'm paying $20 a month. It's an Ubuntu server. It has 4 gigs of memory, a 2-core processor, 80 gig SSD, and 4 terabytes of transfer. But there are actually a lot of services running on Coding Garden. There's the actual coding.garden website, which is this. There's like all the sub pages for like the list of commands for my chatbot, the list of all the gear, a website with all of my YouTube videos that are searchable and filterable. There's also the Q&A website, which was like, I mean, it's a more proper version of this Vox Populi that you're looking at, but this has login with Google, Twitch, Discord, and Patreon, and basically I can detect if you're a patron or if you're a YouTube member, and then your questions go to the top. The only thing is, this just got overwhelmed with questions and I never got to them, so now I'm just scared to look at it, but that's on there as well. There are other things, but I think this is a $20 instance. But I have a Discord bot that's running on a $3.50 instance. If you go to isitnewyearsday.com, I give this thing a very like its own dedicated instance. But this is a website where when multiple users go to it, you can see their mouse, and if you click, you can see a firework. But this I'm hosting on a $10 instance, And the thing is, when I coded this live on stream, and so there were a bunch of people that were just trying to like bring the site down, and just like running scripts that would connect like thousands and thousands of connections to it. So I added some code that would like prevent too many connections from the same IP address. Yeah, and if you open up the console, you can see that people have done it. You can run actions.set emoji and then pass in an emoji. Let's go with a dinosaur. And that will run for everyone. Oh, that's you. And so everyone that's on this website, you can see their mouse. For whatever reason, I decided to give that website its own dedicated instance, so that way multiple people could be there and it like wouldn't slow down when it's showing their mouse and stuff like that. What else? I think that's mainly all I have on Lightsail. A lot of my other stuff is on site, which is now Versal. That's not it. This, which will redirect to Versal. A lot of my sites are here as well. Oh yeah, Dung Hero. Actually, I think Dung Hero is technically on the same instance as isitnewyearsday.com. So this is another game we made. Look at this. Production level code. 20,000 clicks and the server has not gone down. But if you go here, you can collect the dungs and the counter will go up. So that's fun too. Production dung collecting. There we go. All right, thank you, Mint Jim, for that question. Next one comes from Elmo. Yeah, where do I recommend buying a MacBook? So I posted a video recently on YouTube about how I set up my MacBook. And that is here, right here. Well, it was a live stream, and then I edited it down because it was a live stream that was only for supporters. But I am using a 2015 MacBook Pro. I refuse to upgrade to the latest MacBook with like the USB-C and all that stuff. I really, really like the 2015 MacBook Pro. Did I link it here? No, I didn't. If we look at every Mac, I think this is the one. It's a 2015 MacBook Pro with a Radeon graphics card. Yeah, this is it. This is the MacBook that I have, and I bought it used on eBay. I would say any used marketplace where you can look at the reputation of the seller is a, and you want to find someone that has sold MacBooks before and like isn't going to scam you, that's probably where you should look. The other thing you want to look for is you want to ask if they can show you the battery cycle counts, because that's the other thing that potentially if you get a MacBook that's in decent condition but it's been used a lot, then your battery might die soon. So this one, when I bought it, had 190 cycle counts, and technically the end of life is like 1,000 cycle counts. So when you're getting a used MacBook, you just want to make sure, is the battery good? Is it from a reputable dealer? But really search for any open marketplace like eBay, maybe even Facebook Marketplace. But this is my favorite MacBook, and I don't know when I'm going to upgrade, if I'm going to upgrade, but I really like that it has a dedicated HDMI port. Like, MacBooks just don't do that anymore. Oh, look at all the collected dungs. MacBooks just don't do that anymore. And it has dedicated USB ports. It has an SD card reader. It's basically all the things that we love that Apple took away from us. So yeah. But yeah, that's my answer. Will there be any clash of code? We could. When the chat comes back, we'll ask in the chat if anybody wants to do a clash of code. Did I take my doggo for a walk, or does he take you? He takes me. Here's the thing. When he has to use the restroom, he like pulls. He's like, I gotta find a place to go. But once he's content, he'll just walk right beside me, and we kind of walk together instead. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I have a Razer laptop, which is a Windows laptop that has USB-C, but it still has a dedicated HDMI, and it still has some USB 3 ports. I mean, USB-C is fine. The thing that I don't like about it is that you need converters. So I present at like meetups and sometimes do talks, and always there's somebody with a MacBook and a USB-C converter, and the projector or the TV screen just does not like their converter, and I've just seen that so many times. Whereas with HDMI, it just works once every time. There are a lot of questions, and now I'm just scared to look at it. Yeah. Tell us something about RethinkDB as in Raven. I've literally never heard of this acronym until somebody posted it in the Discord. RethinkDB, I have heard of, though. Pushes JSON to your apps in real time. Interesting. I haven't used it. those are my thoughts. All right, type 1 in the chat if you want us to play a game of Clash of Code. Type 2 in the chat if you don't know what Clash of Code is, and type 3 if you're just happy to be here. I see mostly 2s and 3s. Mostly 2s and 3s. Thank you, Smash, for that follow. All right, we're not going to play Clash of Code, but tune in tomorrow morning and we will play Clash of Code, which is a really fun game. And I do that every Monday and Friday morning. Migrated to Brave the other day. What are my thoughts? Any plans on ever switching browsers? I don't think I will ever use Brave. I think that is my thought. So basically all Brave is a wrapper around the Chromium browser, and they just add some plugins. And then they have the things with like the basic attention token and stuff like that. But no, I kind of think it's a scam. Like I kind of think they're monetizing an open source project and adding plugins that you can just get for free elsewhere. So I'm now using Firefox, and I just have plugins for privacy. Yeah, Edge is now using Chromium. I'm not going to switch to Brave. I'm not. That's my opinion on that. Before it becomes irrelevant, AWS $20 a month for the same specs as a Raspberry Pi. So I'm using the service because it's in a like a server room, a server warehouse, and they manage the uptime, they manage the internet connection. I don't have to worry about any of that. But yes, a Code Hustle asked about Clash of Code. So if you go to codinggame.com, I think if you do !Clash in the chat, you will see a link to it. But Coding Game is a pretty cool website. You can do like coding challenges and stuff like that. But in particular, they have this thing called Clash of Code, and we play this every Monday and Friday, where we can generate a link. Everyone in the chat clicks the link, and then we compete. It's randomly chosen. It's either fastest mode, who can complete the challenge the fastest, who can complete the challenge in the shortest number of characters, like Code Golf, or reverse mode, where you only see the input and the output, and you have to figure out what code to write based on that. So it's really fun, kind of competitive, but we try to make it constructive. But yeah, tomorrow morning we'll do some of those. What is Nginx used for, and what can I compare it with? Let's just go to Nginx on Wikipedia. But this website that you're using right now, vox.coding.garden, it has Nginx behind it. So I think here's an interesting way to explain what you can do with Nginx. You can do a lot more. All right, see you later, Punchal. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Apache is similar. It is a web server, but you can do a lot more with it than just a regular plain old web server. And it's typically, at least the way I use it, Nginx is in front of all of the applications that I build. So even though I'm writing applications in Node.js, Nginx sits in front of it before the request ever makes it to Node.js. Yeah, and you could use a tool like Trafic for, it's like a... I use it with a reverse proxy, but here's how I'm going to demonstrate it. So if you go to coding.garden, this is just a basic static website, and it just tells you about Coding Garden. But if you go to, well, you're already there. If you go to vox.coding.garden, you now see this website, which is actually different. So that's a subdomain. And if you go to, what else? Q&A. We showed this earlier, Q&A.coding.garden. That's another website. What else? Oh yeah, there's Word Garden. This will be fun to play really quick. So this is a collaborative word guessing game with programming related terms. It's really wonky right now because like the first person on your team to guess takes it, but Word Garden is running here. And don't go to andrew.coding.garden. That is a rickroll. That's a specific rickroll for Andrew. But the idea with Nginx is that I can configure it so that when an incoming request comes to the server, it can look at the subdomain and determine which application it should actually route it to. And so that's the way that I'm using it. No, there's no S. Yeah, no worries, Sean. Well, I don't know what kind of user group it is, but yeah, feel free to drop a link in the chat. I think that's okay. What is this? Oh, I think I know what it is. No. Dang it. Coding.garden.coding. I mean, it's possible. Yes. Okay. But Nginx basically allows me to have all of these different sites and services running on the same Linux computer, but when a request comes in, it determines where to route that request. And somebody mentioned it earlier, but there's this idea of a reverse proxy. So I have like node, I actually have node, a different node, like 5 or 6 different node processes that are running, and Nginx determines which of those sites to load. Now, you can actually just use Nginx as a static web server as well. Like when you go to coding.garden, that's technically just a static server. I don't have any sort of node process running. Nginx is just routing all of the requests and determining what files to serve up based on the files that are in a folder. Yeah, and I'm using PM2 to manage all of those node processes, which are behind Nginx. So it is a web server, but it's a lot more than that. It can also do caching. So you can set it up so that it will cache the request. So because it's sitting in front of those other processes, it can cache the request to prevent overloading those processes. You can set it up for routing based on subdomains. You saw and you can see that all of these domains are HTTPS. So with Nginx, I have a oh, nice work, everyone. Syntax error. With Nginx, I'm using Let's Encrypt, and I have a wildcard certificate that is configured through Nginx, so that way when requests are made to my website, it sets all of that up. Do not check don't click that link. Please don't click that link. It's a Rickroll. If you notice, it's Mozilla. It's not Mozilla. All right. So yeah, and Nginx is comparable with like Apache. If you've ever heard of Apache, you can do similar things with Apache. But that's the legit link with a capital L. Okay. I think that's my answer. Hopefully that helps out. I work with Docker, yeah. I might actually have some of those services running on coding.garden are inside of a Docker container, but then they're being reverse proxied to like a subdomain. Do I have any projects you want to do but never found the time? Hello, Sanji, welcome. That whole like chat thing that I was talking about earlier is something that I want to do. Like crowdsourced categorization and triaging of all of the chats that are coming through. Did I use Feathers.js to build Vox Populi? I did. So it's super interesting what's actually happening. So I have a Feathers.js service. If you haven't heard of Feathers, not that, Feathers.js. It is a framework for real-time applications. Basically, it's a set of utility functions in Node.js that make it really easy to build real-time services that can either work as REST APIs or work over something like Socket.io or Primus. So what is happening right now is there is a process that is connected with TMI.js, and that's just listening to all of the incoming Twitch chats. And whenever a Twitch chat comes in, it talks to a service I created called the Messages service, and then it inserts that into the database. Now I created a separate service. Mark with the 100 bits. Thank you very much, Mark, for those 100 bits. And thank you, Scepter, for that follow. A community app party planning committee. Yeah, so if you look at my YouTube channel, a while back, we actually did have like a Zoom call with all the people from the community app that got together. But yeah. Okay, so it's listening for Twitch chats. When a new chat comes in, it puts it into the database, but it does that through a Feather service. So I have a separate service called the Vox Populi service that is listening for when chats get inserted. And so Vox Populi is all it is a filtered view into the list of all the messages that have come into the Twitch chat so far. So like if you literally look at the data behind the scenes, we showed this a little bit ago, api.coding.garden/vox/populi. All the data here is coming from the same database table that has all of the Twitch chats, but I have some code in that function for find that organizes it. It basically says if the question starts with exclamation mark, well, if the chat starts with exclamation mark ask, then it is a question, and then if somebody upvotes that number, then it gets pushed in here, and if somebody comments, then it gets pushed in there. So Vox Populi is just a filtered view into the list of all the hundreds of chats that have been coming in. And I did that through a Feather service. So when you do a find, it actually just talks to the other service to get all of the messages and then shows them here. And then with Feathers, you can listen for when events happen. So I'm listening for when a chat comes in, let's do something about it. And so we're actually doing that on the front end here. So when a chat comes in, the front end will put it into the right spot based on the similar filtering. But if you refresh the page, then that initial filtering comes from the back end. So yeah, it uses Feathers. It's cool. 13 ideas. Let's look at those really quick. What are they? Regex stream. I'm not opposed to it. Here's the thing. If you don't want this to get lost, I have a landscaping repo. Ooey. Ooey. Um, yeah, I will say, and I mentioned it the other day, I have not really looked at this that often, but I want to. I want to use this as the source of truth for all of the ideas. So I would say, if you really, really want it to happen, submit it as an issue here, and we can look at it in a future episode. Yeah, Feathers.js. Yeah. And actually, I have a Getting Started playlist on my YouTube. I was somewhat commissioned by David Lucha, the creator of Feathers, to create a guide that basically goes exactly along.
This video.
Oh, that's me. Stop it. Stop it.
Overview of
No, stop.
Feathers.js. You can check it out at Feathers.js.
Stop. Can I just go to the playlist? Yeah, here it is. But this playlist I created goes exactly along with the guide, but it's kind of like an annotated version of the guide, because when we get into like the actual directory that gets generated whenever you do like Feathers generate, I talk about what are all the files, how do they relate. I talk about like what are services, what are hooks, all that good stuff. So you can check this out. But that's pretty cool. The thing is, like, if on their website, and I've talked about, wait. Yeah, and it's totally fun to do things like that. I do that all the time. Like, just go through the documentation of something and see if you can figure it out. But here's the thing. In the Getting Started guide, like the quick start, it actually teaches you about the basics of services, which is great because when you start building more complex applications, you kind of need to know how services work. But in the real world, especially if you're interacting with a database, you don't really ever create your own custom services. You just use the ones that are generated for you. Like if you look at the API and you look at database adapters. All right, see you later, Mark. Thanks for hanging out. So MongoDB, MySQL, Postgres, Maria, Elasticsearch, Objection, there are adapters so that you basically get a fully working, full-fledged CRUD API for any one of these databases instantly, like with one command. And that's the majority of what I do when I'm building like bigger applications with it. Oh, nice, Code Hustle. Yeah, keep on trying. Hello, Cyangira. Welcome. Oh, I'm down for that, Andrew. You want to teach me regex? Andrew has done some really cool solutions to some of the Clash of Codes with just regex. Yeah. Current viewers overlay so that we know when watching later on YouTube. Possibly. So here's the thing. Like, the viewer count isn't always accurate. And hello, Aaron. Welcome. And I try to interact the same way then no matter how many people are watching. But I see what you're saying. Like when you're watching the VOD on YouTube, you don't really know how many people were tuning in. I'll think about it. I do plan to do this. I need to add it to my backlog. But yeah, right now emotes are not supported here. And you don't see the user image. Build a medtech app that solves a problem in healthcare. Example, communication, point of care information, or information resources. Ooh. It varies. Like some of the older apps were all just Express, but nowadays I use Feathers with Express just because it makes things so easy. Okay, let's get back to the questions. Do I use GraphQL? What do I think about it? I actually don't. I don't use GraphQL, and so many people have asked me why not, and I should. I don't know. I just don't. GraphQL is very interesting. Basically, like I believe there is like a plugin that you can put on top of Feathers to turn it into a GraphQL API. But I don't know. I just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah. So here's the thing. Like a very simple GraphQL endpoint, easy enough to just set up and point at a database. But at least what I've seen and what I feel is once you start getting into, you need authentication, you need special permissions based on different queries and routes. I just don't know how to do any of that. And I know how to do that when I'm building a REST API. And so that's like a whole new domain that I'd need to learn. So I haven't really worked with GraphQL, but it's an interesting concept. I mean, that's why it's so popular. But yeah. GraphQL. Have I made any money from my programming side projects? Nope. I mean, I mainly just code for work and then I do the live streaming. That's it. I don't really have any side stuff. And here's the thing. I don't... Ost with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much, Ost, for that Twitch Prime sub. For those of you that are not aware, the Click that link. You can see if you have a Prime sub available. Yeah. But yeah, side projects are tricky. And here's the thing. I work as a software consultant. So I work at a company where we have a sales team and they find all the leads and they find projects for us to work on. And personally, I don't really want to do that work. So I'm happy to have the sales team do that versus being my own sales team and like freelancer. But yeah. Any thoughts or advice on moving to a new state or city as a software developer? Murdoch with the bits. Are we on a hype train? No, okay. I was like, what are you doing? Thank you, Murdoch. Thank you for those bits. 250 bits. What's up, Alka? Did you just wake up? Welcome. Welcome to the show. More bits for Murdoch. Thank you very much, Murdoch, for those bits. And everyone should check out. Are we really on a hype train? No, we're not on a hype train. Come on. But check out Alka. He's a member of our Live Coders team, and he's a mod here, and he's an all-around great guy. Yeah, oh yeah, and Honeypot is a really awesome YouTube channel if you haven't seen them. They did a documentary on Vue.js and on Ember.js, and it's really well filmed. Not that long ago. Nice. Okay, and thank you, Apocalypse, for that follow. Advice. I don't know. So I've done this. Like when I went to university in Louisiana, and my first job was in New Jersey, and I don't know, I just kind of did it. Here's the thing. If you don't have a significant other or a wife or kids, it's actually really easy to do. You kind of just pick up and leave. But if you have all of that, it gets a lot more complicated. And I don't have any experience with that. But I would also say that you can apply before you get there. Like start searching on the job boards and basically just you can apply to those places and try to get like a phone interview or even like a remote interview initially. To see if you might get a job like that. And then some companies even offer relocation packages, depending on the company. Come to Europe. I could do a tour up. Yeah, Alka is a nice guy. Come on. So there's that to think about. Try moving from New York to... Oh. Chad! Twitch Prime sub! Thank you so much, Chad. I used to work with Chad. Chad's a great person as well. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for clicking that thing. It works. See, all I got to do is tell people about Prime, and now there's a hype train. But all I have to do is tell people about Prime, and there are literally people that don't know about Prime. Yeah, thank you all for this hype train. So my thoughts are you can absolutely apply. Potentially a company might offer relocation services. If you can afford to relocate without their relocation services, Mr. Demon Wolf with the 100 bits, thank you very much, Mr. Demon Wolf. I still don't understand Prime. Shines love with the 100 bits. Thank you very much, Shines love. But yeah, if you can apply, it's great. Wait, level 11? That's not a thing. No, level 1. Level 1. Have I heard of Reventure? I haven't heard of that. And thank you, Beastco, for that follow. So yeah, apply. But the thing I was going to mention is if they have on their application, like, do you require relocation services? If you don't, if you can afford to move yourself, don't check that box because then they're more likely to actually hire you because they know they don't have to pay for it. So yeah. The Bean Hiker game is legit fun. Here, I think I can disable... Can I disable the bit amounts from here? I don't know if I can. And thank you, Addict, for that hydrate. And thank you, Alan Bree, for that follow. But yeah, yesterday we did coding improv. Shines love with a gifted sub to Streamlabs. Okay. People always gifting bots. It's actually pretty funny though because now we can make the bot have emotes to Streamlabs. Thank you for that hydrate, Mr. Demon Wolf. But yeah, yesterday we did coding improv. I made it so that anybody in the chat could suggest ideas or not idea. I wanted to avoid people suggesting specific technologies because there are a lot of people that come here just to learn, but there are other people that come here for entertainment, and I just had them suggest like random things. So we built based on suggestions and randomness and kind of like improv. We created Bean Hiker, where you click to start and then you get a shiny coffin, and then you can start to create a trail, and then along the trail you collect beans, and it also shows you a haiku. Oh, you ordered the... I thought about it. The Dino sweater is... I think it's like $100, but it's really nice. And when you get it, I think it supports something in some way. But yeah. But yeah, you can collect beans along the way. And also the map shifts between fuchsia and dark mode because of like a random suggestion that happened. We Gochi! Thank you so much. Or Gochuni. It supports something inside. That's pretty much true about everything that costs money, right? Yeah, so we just keep on hiking, and you collect beans along the way. So we built this yesterday. Totally random. CJ, 2020. And Gochuni, thank you very much for that follow. And Shanam, thank you. Oh, no, not for the follow. For the Twitch Prime sub. And thank you, Cloudhawk, for that Twitch Prime sub as well. Thank you very much. And thank you, Shana, for that follow. Shubham asks, why did I stop streaming on YouTube? Mainly for things like this. Like, there are a lot of people that are just supporting me right now with money. And that really doesn't happen on YouTube. Twitch just has a different kind of person watching, I guess. I don't know. I don't appreciate the flashing between modes. It was just a part of a suggestion. Agthar with the 3 gifted subs. Thank you very much, Agthar. Shout out to Coon Chris. What's up, baby? One Monk Juice. You all got gifted a sub. We love supporting you. Oh, thank you, Mr. Demon Wolf. Yeah, so Twitch is very different. I think people are already in the mentality of support because, like, if you watch some of the big, like, game streamers, like, they're getting all kinds of, like, bits and tips and stuff like that. Yeah. Thank you, Kims, for that stretch. Oh, thank you, Ziggy. That's good to hear. But that's the main reason I'm streaming on Twitch is because of monetization. And before, when I was streaming both on Twitch and YouTube, I could not monetize on Twitch because of contract obligations. Thank you very much, Atomic J, for those bits. Can we get a shout out for Atomic J? They're a member of our Live Coders team. Yeah. Well, thank you, Rich Dev. And Twitch, yeah, I mean, it definitely is. It's different. The chat is different. The being live is different. I don't know. But yes, that's the main reason. I wanted to enable monetization, and I couldn't do that if I was streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. But all of these streams still get uploaded to YouTube, so you can still watch them afterwards there. We support you so much, even bot receives us. Yeah, somebody gifted Samwise Gardner. Wait, when did it get the bot badge? How is that a thing? Is that Frankerface? Oh, no, I think it's Frankerface. I think in Frankerface's, I said that Samwise Gardner is a bot. I was like, I thought Twitch didn't do that anymore. Okay. Yeah, somebody said something? The coder community is way supportive. The gaming side community, yeah, it's very true. There's a lot of toxicity, yeah. Wish I could give you more, but I'm saving up for an apartment. No worries. Here's the thing. So, people are supporting me. I absolutely appreciate it, but it's not required. It's just really nice, and I appreciate it. But I'm still going to keep streaming no matter what. No matter if you give support or not. I have a full-time job. I just do this on the side. So, yeah. Okay. I don't know if that helped, Toasted Cheeses. We kind of talked a lot. Let's keep going. How do you use Axios using post and custom headers? X Davila with the 500 bits. Thank you very much. I don't have 10 bits or money. Here, just for you, Andrew. We are going to somehow enable Murdoch Turner with more 100 bits. Thank you very much. You're all too kind. You're too kind. Murdoch with more bits. More bits. Thank you very much. Oh, man, Murdoch. 1, 2, 3, 4. You gave bits before the stream, too. Ah! Did we just... Which level are we at now? I'm done. Okay, thank you, Murdoch. Murdoch gifted themselves earlier on another channel. Yeah. Is it Zero Turner? Wait, no. Is that your other account? I don't know, but thank you, Zero Turner, for the 100 bits. Level 4! We made it to level 4. Okay. Oh, your brother. Okay. Thank you, Murdoch's brother, very much. 500 bits once, kind of weird. 100 bits 5 times is the way to go, yeah. Oh, Turner Games, that's the one. Okay, just a second. I was going to do something. The bits limit is there to stop the digital equivalent of people throwing single pennies at you. That's true. All right, I'm going to leave it. The mods always have differing opinions, but I'm going to leave it. Denisol with the 100 bits. Thank you very much, Denisol. I appreciate you. Appreciate you all. Look at all the supports. Oh boy. Wow, thank you. Thank you. Disable it for 1 minute. Okay. The only thing is I gotta find it. I was part of a 3,000% level 5 hype train. Wow. And thank you, Apocalypse, for those 200 bits. Very much appreciated. We're making it happen. We're making it happen. Okay. Wait, not that. This? How do bits work? They cost money, so 1 bit is equivalent to 1 cent. So Murdoch just gifted like $6-7, which is insane. But basically, 100 bits is roughly $1. And thank you, Apocalypse, for that posture check. What's up, Silverlink? Welcome to the show. And thank you, Codephobia, for that 5-minute break. You know what? That's convenient, because I've been streaming for 2 hours. I do need to take a quick break. So I am Twitch affiliate, but I have not reapplied for partner yet. I'm going to wait like a few more weeks before I do it, just to be sure. Here we go. Bits? Where are the bits? Okay, minimum bits. 1. Okay, you should be able to tip 1 bit now. Minimum bits, 0. What are those bits for? Can you turn it into money? Yeah. So it actually is money. So Twitch, if you reach a certain amount, I think the payout amount is like $100. But once you reach that amount, they'll put it in your bank account or put it in PayPal. Yeah, those bits are basically money. It's money. It's a fun way to give me money, basically. You can do my stretch from like a half hour back when I go, oh, thank you, Acid. Sorry that I missed it. X Cacao says, what should I do when I get demotivated with my job? Take a vacation. You are burnt out. This is like, you're burnt out straight up. And if you don't step away, you're just going to get more jaded, and it's not going to get any better. But that's basically where demotivation comes from. Thank you very much. Leeting Lady for the 100 bits. Ivo with the 100 bits. So yeah, take a break. Take a long weekend at least. I don't know if you have any vacation days left, but really you just need to step away, because when you come back, you'll be refreshed. All of the coworkers that annoyed you. Thank you very much, Bob, for the 10 bits. But all the coworkers that annoyed you and all the things that just got on your nerves just won't be that annoying anymore. So yeah, that's my advice there. Party, 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 party. Wait. Jermo with a Twitch Prime sub, thank you very much. And Bob's with the 51 bits, thank you very much. Wait, what did Drinker Time just do? Did Drinker Time give me bits? Where did that come from? I don't know what's happening. But thank you, Mooney, for that follow. And Leading Lady, thanks again for the 100 bits. I don't know if it worked. Eternal Dev Coder with the 500 bits. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wasabi Dev, 100 bits. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm way behind. That's why. I guess it didn't. Yeah, it didn't come through as bits. Weird. Did we do it? Okay, level 3. Nice. Thank you all so much. Posture check. Hydrate. We all got a level 3 hype emote. Let's share it. The hype car. Nice. SVGs should load in the overlay. Oh no. I'm using an image proxy and it does not like SVGs. So that could be the issue. I think I need to fix that. There was this question here. I'll try to answer it, but then I am going to take a 5-minute break that was redeemed by Codephobia. Yeah. Do I have a college degree? Do I think it's necessary to get a job as a developer? I do have one, but I grew up in a time when you needed that. And these days, you don't really need it anymore. Actually, I've taught at a code school, and I helped people get jobs in the software industry that did not have a college degree. So the times they are a changing. Yeah. Do I have any advice on becoming a tech lead? I think a lot of it has to do with mentoring your peers. So, like, not only are you just good at your job, but you're good at helping others get things done as well. That's really what a tech lead does. They empower their team. So, yeah. Chat is so hyped. Wait, an overlay? Something's happening with an overlay? Cool, 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 cool. And oh wait, Greg with a gifted sub? Wait, what? I need to catch up on that. But Greg gifted a sub. Thank you very much, Greg. Wow. Yeah, you absolutely don't need a degree. Oh, that'll be for the viewer count. Okay. And Das, thank you for that hydrate. We're just going to catch up, and then I am going to take a break. Another break. Should it be a 10-minute break? Back in my day. Thoughts on Feathers as an enterprise solution? Yeah. Yeah, the latest version 4 supports TypeScript. So if you're in an enterprise, you probably like TypeScript and you can use TypeScript with it. All right, I'm going to try to answer this question, and then we're going to take a 10-minute break. But I'll be back to answer a few more, and then I got to go. Okay, have I implemented microservice communication with Redux? And if I did keep the state persistent. For example, services communicate via messages, and some services disconnect. You keep the messages in the queue. I really don't have any experience with this. But yeah, I've heard that this is something that you want to do, where basically you have, not Redis, but there's like a messaging queue in QQT. There's some sort of thing that you could basically push all of the messages into. And then your different services can get those messages off of that queue when they're actually up and working. Something like that. A big place. But yeah, I don't really have any experience with doing that kind of stuff. RabbitMQ, that's the one. I don't know what I was thinking, but thank you, Codephobia. RabbitMQ, that's the one. But yeah, I've heard of people doing that, where basically like multiple services use RabbitMQ as kind of like the source of truth. Like that's the queue where everything goes into, and then those services will pull from that queue whenever they're up, or when they can, and then the queue will get flushed out. Yeah. All right, see you later, John. Thanks for hanging out. All right, huge appreciation to everyone that was on that hype train. The Vox Populi backend is up. It's on my GitHub. But shout out to Mark with the 100 bits, Ost with a Twitch Prime sub, Murdoch with the 250 bits, Murdoch with the 250 bits. You have given me so much money today, Murdoch. Thank you very much. Every time CJ says wow, I think of this. I'll take a look. Oh, it's not ending. I'm going to take a 10-minute break, and then I'll come back for about an hour. And then I actually do have to go back to work. I have a meeting this afternoon. Chad with the Twitch Prime sub, Mr. Demon Wolf with the 100 bits, Shines Love with the 100 bits, Shines Love with the gifted sub to Streamlabs, Gochuni with the Twitch Prime sub, Cloudhawk with the Twitch Prime sub, Agthar with the 3 gifted subs, thank you very much, Atomic J with the 40 bits, Lex Davila with the 500 bits, Murdoch with the 100 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 bits, Zero Turner with the 100 bits, Dinesly with the 100 bits, Apocalypse with the 200 bits, Leading Lady with the 100 bits, Ivo with the 100 bits, Bob with the 10 bits, Jeremo with a Twitch Prime sub, Bob with the 51 bits, Eternal Dev Coder with the 500 bits, Wasabi Dev with 100 bits, Denesily with 100 bits, and Greg with the Tier 1 community sub. Thank you very much. Whew, thank you very much. All right, I'm going to take a 10-minute break. I'm going to take a 10-minute break, but then when I come back, we'll answer more questions. I have a feeling this is going to turn into like the Q&A site. There's already 48 questions here. We're not going to be able to. It's a ton of community love. I appreciate you all. Hearts, can we get some Yerba drops in the chat? We got a lot of wait, not that. Yes, Coding 5 Yerba. Yeah, and those of you that are new here, you can do drops. I don't know if I showed you this, but if you type !drop followed by an emote, you'll see it fall on the screen. If you do !drop me, it'll drop your avatar. You can also drop emojis, and if you just do drop without it, it will drop a seedling. But the goal is to land right here, which they just missed it. But if you land there, you get your name on the leaderboard. Populi.js. I don't know what that is. Yerba train. Okay, we're gonna watch this video, and then I'm gonna take a 10-minute break. Okay, that's enough. Oh wait. Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, 10-minute break. I'll be back. I appreciate you all. You're great. I'll see you soon. And shout out to all my Twitch subs, all the new Twitch subs. Shout out to my Patreon pledges and YouTube members. I'm going to show your name on the screen while we're on break. So I'll see you soon. Hello, everybody. We're back. Thank you, Shirarasu, for that follow, and C's Cypher for that follow as well. Everyone's using this emote. Did we get this emote added to Better Twitch TV? I think we should, if we can. Yeah, but welcome. Welcome back. Yeah, we do have some marquee pros in the chat. It goes fast. It goes up. Wow. Oh, no worries, Alka. No worries. Okay. Hello. Hello. Okay. Janata with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much, Janata. Very much appreciated. I appreciate you. Okay, back to the questions. Now, one thing I totally forgot is this is order, like, whoa. What was that? I want to see that again. Wow, I saw like a thing go by. I don't know. Oh well. But if you are a supporter or a sub, your question goes to the top. Then it's ordered by when the question was asked, and then it's ordered by the number of votes. So if we go down, let's go to the questions from people that are not subs, and we'll give them some love too. Lujagon asks, what was your first big web project? It was at my first job, and it was to create basically a visualization dashboard. So I had already built the backend in C#.net with the JSON API, and the number of votes should be top sorted. It is, yeah. So the number of votes is there, but supporters are always going to appear at the top. So as you can see, this is the non-supporter question with the most number of votes, and that's the top there. So yeah. Oh, nice, nice, Alka. He's making a pristine emote. I mean, it's not pay to ask. It's like it's like, what else can I do to show my appreciation for all the people that support me? You know. So, but yeah, first big web project. It was a web visualization dashboard because I had already created an ASP.NET JSON API that would return all of the analytics and visualization data. I had created a Windows service that was in charge of like loading and logging that data. I had created a WPF app for managing the settings for all of that. But they wanted to be able to see all this info on like an iPad or a phone. So I decided I would build a web dashboard that took in all of that same data because it was already a JSON API, and build that. And that's actually when I taught myself, initially I taught myself jQuery, and I built it with jQuery. And then there was this thing called Angular that was fairly new back then, and I was like, I'm going to try to learn this. And I built the same thing with Angular, like cut the code base in half. And it was pretty sweet. And at the time, I was working at a very large enterprise, and there were a lot of security measures in place for adding and creating new applications. You all are silly. But because this was just a static front-end site that talked to a JSON API, I was actually just able to load those static files onto a SharePoint folder, and then anybody that had access to that SharePoint could go and look at the web dashboard. So it was pretty mind-blowing for all those people at the time. But that was my first big project. It had probably like 30 components. It was doing charts. What does this say? Yeah, but what are you all doing? Yeah, Informath. I know if you're trying to hack it, there are protections on a lot of those endpoints that will throw back an error like that. So yeah, that was my first project. And the thing is, they didn't even ask for that. Like, the project was mainly all of the batch processes and building the API for getting it working. But this was extra. And that was my first big web project. Thanks for asking. Have I used Vim, or do I plan to switch to Vim? No, and then Andrew was talking about Babby, which was created by Anthony Writes Code. Can we get a shout out for Anthony Writes Code? He's a member of our Live Coders team, but he created Babby, which is, I think it's like Nano. I don't think it's based on Nano, but it's like Nano. But no, I actually don't use Vim. I prefer to use the default and built-in shortcuts that are built into every machine. So I'll show you a gist where I've written these down. Let's see. Oh, you wrote it from scratch. Nice. shortcuts, I think. Keyboard. Yeah, here it is. So these keyboard shortcuts are what when you see me in the editor like jumping around, it looks like I'm using Vim, but I'm not. I'm using these built-in shortcuts. So, and I'll show you really quick how all that works. So let's say I'm in the editor here, and let's say I want to get to that word React and change it to something else. I can use Alt and jump over words. So I'm just using the Alt here to jump over basically like tokens. And then when I get to something, if you hold down Shift and Alt, it will select that item. So we can import WAT from React. Do it. So that's Alt, jump over words within the thing. And on Windows, I think you can use Control. Yeah, the keyboard shortcuts are slightly different, but they're built into Windows as well. On a Mac, if you hold Command, that will go to the end or the beginning of a line. So if I need to go to the end or beginning, arrow key with Command. If I need to go to the bottom of the file, Command down, Command up, Command down. I'm jumping around all day. If I need to select the entire file, Command Shift down, or if I need to select it like that. So all of these shortcuts you see me using are just built in. Like I'm not using Vim, I'm not using any extra configuration. These just work on any operating system. And these same shortcuts will work in Microsoft Word if you wanted them to. So that's kind of the mentality that I have, is like I've gotten used to all of these shortcuts. I don't want to configure everything. I don't want to learn a bunch of new shortcuts. Oh, it's called Option. Oh yeah, on a Mac it's called Option. Yeah. So there's the thing about Vim is it requires a lot of upfront setup, and every person's Vim configuration is completely and totally custom to that person. Like they've done all the work of figuring out what keyboard shortcuts they like and stuff like that. And if they were to sit down at somebody else's editor, they would have a really hard time. If I sit down at somebody else's editor or at like a computer, or I'm pairing with somebody that I don't know, I can use all of these shortcuts and it works just fine. You combine these with Shift, and then we can start like selecting things. There are shortcuts like inside of VS Code, like Command D or Control D, that will select things that match, and then we have like multi-cursor, and that's just built into VS Code. So that's why I'm not using Vim. It requires a lot of configuration. This is 2020. We use GUIs. We're not limited to what can be done inside of a terminal, which is why things like Vim exist. So that's my opinion on that, and that's what I do. I'll share this shortcuts file. But yeah. GUIs. And the thing is, if you like Vim and you want to configure Vim to how you do things, that's totally fine. Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that I don't prefer to do that. So that's me. And also, like, just because it's just my opinion, it's not fact. And just because I don't use Vim doesn't mean I can't navigate things without my keyboard, right? It's still completely and totally possible to do things like this, jump around, select things. I can like move lines up or down using built-in shortcuts and not like configurations and stuff like that. The other thing is it takes a lot of configuration to start to get autocomplete like this, which is just built into VS Code. You don't have to do any configuration. I don't know. I'll stop talking about that, but those are my thoughts. Here's the thing though. If you're, I don't know, as a new programmer, Vim can also be very confusing. Also, it's really, this is also another opinion. It's hard to follow people that are using Vim unless you can see a rundown of all the keyboard commands that they're using. And even then, you would need some sort of lookup table to tell you what keyboard shortcuts they're using actually mean. Whereas myself, wait, I didn't upvote that. Oh, yeah, I think there's still data in my database. Because I was testing this last night, but I didn't get rid of the upvotes. Okay. Whereas, if you're watching me code as a beginner, and you're watching me teach, all right, see you later, Informath, thanks for hanging out. It's a bit easier to follow me if I'm just using a general VS Code editor rather than something like Vim. So, that's that. Okay, I'll stop talking about that. One more thing, Murdoch says, will I eventually add cheer messages to the overlay? Because if we attached a message to the cheer, you won't see it. I absolutely need to do this. I just haven't yet. I think I might have it on my stream tasks Trello board. Marquee direction, left. I feel like I have emotes in here somewhere. Regardless, I need to add them. Cheer messages. It might already have it in there. This Trello board is getting a little unruly, but yes. Okay, I'm stuck in tutorial hell. I want to be a React developer. Should I just start building things and Google as I go? And I think this is another bug where my testing upvotes from last night are sticking around. But yes, absolutely. That's what I tell anyone that's stuck in where basically all you've been doing is watching tutorials and not actually coding things. Yes, figure out what do you want to build, pick an idea, find something that interests you, and try to build it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use online resources. That doesn't mean you can't search for how to do things. But if you, instead of following a prescribed tutorial that says do this, then do this, you're figuring out how to make all the things happen that you want to happen. And if you do that, you are a real developer. That's what I do on a daily basis. I have a request from a product manager that says you need to implement this feature, and it's my job to figure out how I can write the code to implement that feature. And that's what developers do. Docker tutorial. Yeah, I need to do Docker. It's been on the to-do list for a very long time. Alka says, it's just as easy as adding the cheer event until you want cheer motes, but at least you don't miss the actual message in the cheer. Okay, I can do that. You all are very silly. What is Docker and when do we use it? I'll answer this one and then we'll go back up to the top. A developer is someone who knows enough to know what to search for. Yeah. I mean, because if you find yourself, and that's the other thing that you will develop over time, the more you try to build things without following a tutorial, is how can you break down the problems that you're trying to solve? How can you break things down into solvable pieces that you could potentially search the web to find how to do that, or you could figure out yourself, and then it's just one more thing that you've solved. And that's really all programming is. It's just solving lots of little problems to make a bigger thing. That's all it takes to be a dev. It really is. Docker is interesting. Let's talk about Docker. We've talked about it before, and I always say I'm going to do a tutorial. There's no way I'm going to get through all of these. But Docker is a containerization technology. And how long ago was this question asked? This question was asked 2 hours ago. Yeah. Wow. It's a containerization technology. And from a developer perspective, let's talk about this from a developer perspective, because Docker is good for a lot of different things. It's good for developers. It's good for scaling and application deployment. But from a developer perspective, it allows you to create a configuration that describes an environment. So you could describe a Linux server, you could describe all of the packages that need to be installed on that Linux server and dependencies. Like if I wanted to Dockerize a Node.js application, I would create a configuration that describes Linux. It needs to install Node and NPM. It potentially needs to install PM2, which is a process manager. And I can write a configuration that describes all of that. And then when I'm ready, I can spin up that Docker container that is now self-contained and has all of that inside of it. And all it takes is one command to spin it up. And so after I've created this configuration, I can give it to someone else. They can run that same command, and they get the exact same environment. They don't have to run through the rigmarole of installing all the dependencies and figuring out what versions are supported. They literally just type a command and it starts working. So that's one of the major benefits. And you can do that same thing with databases, with like entire applications like WordPress. You just put them in a container and they're ready to go. And then for deployment, you can turn that container into an image, push that image into the cloud, use something like Docker Swarm or Kubernetes to orchestrate all of these different containers that are potentially talking to each other. But from a developer perspective, one command to start your app. You don't have to worry about all the dependencies and all that good stuff. Can I use my sub to boost number 50? If you want. All right, let's go back to the top. I'm going to be streaming for probably like 30 more minutes. Docker can absolutely be used in production. It can be used in both places. But I've seen where it's mainly used in, there are scenarios where it's mainly just used in development to make things easier. And then for production, you potentially have a different deployment strategy. Now, that kind of complicates things and you're losing the benefits of Docker, but it is possible to do that. Yeah. Shedot. Yeah, Shedot was the one that made the GIF of me doing the thing. Yeah. All right, Mint Jim is asking, how do I use Axios using post and some custom headers? Okay. Does anyone know of an API that I could show with this? Does anybody know of a public API that requires a post request and setting some headers? Maybe the GitHub API? Because I can show a quick code example. Aaron with the gifted sub. Thank you so much, Aaron. Congrats to Dennis Lee. You're now a sub. The GitHub one. Yeah, let's check out GitHub. Do it. It's a really funny emote, the hands up emote. How about this? I know there's an endpoint. There's a GitHub endpoint for converting Markdown into HTML. Request bin? Let's try it. There's a pair. That's my face on a pair. Pair programming. Does this let you do like post requests and stuff like that? 100 bits from Dennis Lee. Thank you very much, Dennis Lee. Very much appreciated. Bits! All the bits! Create a request bin. Oh, I gotta sign in. No way. Not that I don't want to. I just want something that's like pretty easy to get up and going. GitHub API Markdown. Bits. Thanks for all the bits, the bitties. Okay, so there is an endpoint where you can make a post request to convert Markdown text into HTML. Now, does it require headers? I think you can just do this without headers though. And thank you, Impsane, for that follow. I'll just do this. We'll use this as an example, and it might be that my IP address has if I run that. So this curl command, this curl command should actually give me an error if I need a like a client ID or a token. Oh no, it works. Do embed requests require a header? I don't think so. We'll just use this endpoint, and I'll actually show you, because if we look in the authorization section of the GitHub API, we do potentially provide a token in the request. And there's like an authorization header. Are there any Twitch endpoints that require? Well, they're not post requests. So their specific question is about a post request, because I could show a GET request to the Twitch API, because that requires a client ID in the header. Let's see. No, not the guide. Reference. Skal vibare snack norse. What? What are you talking about? Kraken update. Okay, let's update. We could update the title. Channels reference. Update a channel. Yeah, it is going to require a specific OAuth token, right? Yeah, I am going to need an OAuth token. Speak more Norwegian. This sounds like a chords question in disguise. It's possible. It is possible. What's up, Mastermind? The Garden of Code. I'm doing pretty good. We're just hanging out. We got a ton of support today. Tons of bits and subs. I kind of don't know what to do with myself, but we're doing good. Everyone should check out Mastermind. He's now a member of our Live Coders team, so my bot automatically shouts him out. But he's great. If you want to learn about coding or AWS or different stuff like that, definitely check out his channel. Yeah, there are those emotes. Nice. Okay, let's call the Twitch API. That should be fine. And I'll get a token from somewhere, but let's just show this really quick. Really quick. Yeah, it is my birthday too. I just turned 75 years old. Let's do this. Raise house of budget OAuth tokens. I don't look a day over 72. Nice. Thank you very much, Mastermind. Yeah, we're gonna just do like a basic HTML web page, and we could have like an input box, and then we could update a channel. What are we gonna update? The game. Let's update the game. because I'm currently, I think, in the just chatting category, and we could change it to science and technology. Right? How do I keep my hair nice and sleek for 75? I just got good genes. Kormange Nordmen Erdet Air. That's probably really bad. Oh, thank you, Hawks. I guess we could just update. Let's just update the status, because then I wouldn't have to figure out like what is the category, like science and technology, all that stuff. Okay, but here's what's gonna happen. Oh no, that's a put though. That's not a post. Doesn't matter. we're gonna make a put request to this using Axios. So let's go ahead and create our own little script here. The source is gonna be app.js. I speak fluent Norwegian. I'm sure that was horrible. It is my birthday, yeah. Somebody leaked it, but now you all know. It's the same thing. Oh, so if I just say science and technology, it'll put it in the right category. I just have to spell it right. Okay. Doxed. How do I tackle whiteboard interviews? I don't do them. Like, no. I have taught people how to handle whiteboard interviews. I'm almost fluent in Norwegian as I am in Spanish. Well, okay. But really, it's all about breaking down a problem. Explaining your whole thought process. Life is overrated. Thank you very much for that sub. Much appreciated. Jeg snakker ikke norsk. Full Norwegian chat now. But also, I kind of disagree with the idea of whiteboarding, of the idea of literally writing code that has the correct syntax and could possibly compile on a whiteboard. That is just not how we code. So why would an interview make me do that? I don't like it. I probably would just walk out of an interview if they asked me to do that. Yeah. Norwegian is discount German. All right, we've got a basic document here. Let's just start up a static file server and make sure that it logs hello world. What's up, Relevant Jesse? I haven't seen you on the channel. Who says, am I familiar with Timeleaf? And thank you, Nafto, for that gifted sub. Who got it? Who got it? Silverbeat! Congrats, Silverbeat. Does it serve the same purpose as React? I'll look it up really quick, but check out Relevant Jesse. They're a member of our live coders team. Click that link. What is this? A modern server-side Java template language. Ah, it looks kind of like Twig, which is a templating language used in, I mean, it originally was PHP, but it's been ported to Node. What was the question? Yeah, I'm not familiar with this. This might be a replacement for Next.js, which is server-side rendered React, but I have no idea. I've literally never seen that before. Okay, so we're logging hello world. That's great. Let's just grab Axios. I'm going to grab it from JS Deliver, which is a CDN where you can get things. We could technically set up a build process and do an npm install. We don't want to do that. We're just going to grab Axios from a CDN, and we'll bring it in. So let's just grab the min file here. And then now in the file itself, we're going to bring in a script. We're going to set the source to be Axios. And now inside of app.js, I should get access to Axios. And if we log it, we should see like a function. There we go. Function exports. That's great. Yeah, Axios post. Yeah, so this is the current question we're answering. How do I use Axios using post and some custom headers? So what I want to do, and what I'm going to try to do, is hit this Twitch API endpoint to update the game of my current stream that's happening right now. I'm going to try to hit this endpoint. If I do it right, then we're going to change from just chatting to science and technology. But I'm going to try. So this documentation tells me that I need a put request against this URL. So it's a put, it's not a post, but it's going to work in a very similar way. And with Axios, you can say like axios.post, or in this case, I'm going to do axios.put, and then we throw in the URL that we want to send a request to. Next up, we need the channel ID. Can anyone in chat tell me what the Coding Garden channel ID is? Because technically that needs to be in the URL. We'll put that in a variable. And we need, I should have it memorized, but thank you, Alka. Alka knows. 812, was that a troll, Impy? Were you really sending me random stuff? I know, it looks familiar. I know it's 413. 413-856-795. I just type random numbers. That's the one. Okay, so this is, so in their documentation, they tell me I need a put request against that URL / channel ID. Now people are just saying random numbers, but this should be it. And so I need to do a put request there. Axios accepts a second parameter, which is your options. And inside of your options, you can specify custom headers. So typically what you do here is you say headers, and then you can specify all the headers that you want. Now, if we look, stop it. Oh, Atomic J. Oh yeah, you're still here. Definitely check out Atomic J. They're also a member of our live coders team. Okay, we can see in their curl example here, let's just copy and paste the curl example. Curl is a command line tool for making requests. Like, you saw me do this earlier. I just like pasted it into my quick stretch. Yeah, so I thought, like, I want to make a website that is just like put in a username and get back a user ID and info, because I'm always searching for how do I get my channel ID. Okay, but yeah, curl is a command line utility. It's on most Linux-based systems, and you can run this, and it makes the request. Axios is doing the same thing. It's making this request, but we can see in the curl command, they actually specify a few headers. So -h with client ID, that's one header. They specify the accept header. They specify the authorization header. And basically, we need to specify all of those inside of our Axios request. So right here, I need to do all of that. So it's basically like key value pairs. Now I'm going to put in the values that they have there. I'm hoping that these are not valid OAuth tokens. I don't think they are. But basically I need to say the client ID is that. And then I'm going to have to go get real information. But and then I need the accept header, which looks like that. And specifically for Kraken, which is the older version of the Twitch API, you have to put the accept header so that it'll actually work. And then we need an authorization header. Fetch is faster. I mean, fetch will work without installing anything, but they did ask specifically about Axios. Addy Lucio with the tier 1 sub. Thank you very much, Addy. Welcome to the coding garden. Cool. Let's turn off. Yeah, cool. So we have those 3 headers, and I believe that is all we need. Yay, subs! So we're making a request against this URL, and these are all the headers that I need to specify. And I really think that these are just example values. So, oh, you're right. Actually, I need the data object first. Atomic J, thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub. Wait, was that? Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Too kind. Too kind. Yeah, I wish I could have Amazon Prime. I know it's not in all countries. Here's the thing. Like, when I started learning JavaScript, it took me months before I really figured out how to use XML HTTP request. And at the time, jQuery Ajax was really the way to do it because they hid all of the details of it. But like, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out like the right way to make an XML HTTP request. But yeah, now Fetch exists, and it works very similar to Axios. But yeah, Alka was totally right. I actually missed something. Because we're sending data to the server, and you can see in the docs here that we have these parameters, I actually need the second parameter to be an object. So the second parameter is the data we're sending to the server, and then Axios allows the third parameter to be your option. So I actually do need to specify this, and I'm going to say the status, or no, we're going to specify the game. Wait, who got a good drop? Developer CR 99.94. Or no, Jermo 89.27. Yeah, so those of you that are new to Twitch, bits are basically, they're like tips. So 100 bits is equivalent to $1. So when someone gives bits, they are giving me money, which I don't understand, but they're giving me money. And then Twitch subs are different from YouTube subs. YouTube subs are free. You just click the subscribe button. On Twitch, a subscription is monthly support. So the tier 1 sub is $4.99. Sometimes it's $5.99. But you basically are saying, I am going to give me that much money. You're going to give CJ that much money every month when you subscribe. So that's bits, that's subs. And then gifting is when you give a subscription to someone else in the channel, and that's a great way to support as well. Basically, you and that's happening a lot. People are giving gift subs to other people, and when they give them the gift sub, they're allowed to use all the emotes as well. So once you're a sub, you're allowed to use my emotes. So all of these emotes are specific to the Coding Garden channel, and once you're a sub, you can actually use them, like beans. Yeah, there's just a small little chat down there. So that's what all that is. Okay, yeah, so that's great. Now, actually, what I want to do is put this in a function. And then we need to figure out what the game actually is. But let's do this. So let's say we're going to create a function called updateGame. Inside of that, we're going to do this. This technically returns a promise, so we can async await it. So I'm going to put async. Thank you, Alka. Science and technology. What if I sub? Wait, if I sub, I pay you? I mean, you pay Twitch, and then Twitch gives me money based off of that. Yeah. And the thing about subs is, at least as an affiliate, I get 50% of that money. With bits, at least I'm told, I get all of the money. Okay, so we have the response. And that's equal to awaiting Axios.put. And then we should get that response back. And let's see what happens. Oh, I didn't call the function. Yeah, so we're in just chatting, and we're going to change the game to be science and technology. The Twitch cut of bits happens when user buys them. Yeah, that's what people were telling me. So when someone buys bits, they pay a little bit more. Like if they buy 100 bits, they pay, I don't know, $1 and some change. And then when they give me 100 bits, they're actually giving me $1. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's kind of weird. Whenever partners can negotiate like a bigger cut potentially, but you have to be like really big and have a lot of subs. Okay, so when the page loads, I'm just going to call this update game function. Let's see what happens. Request failed with a status code 400. Now, this is absolutely going to fail because this is an invalid client ID. This is an invalid OAuth token. But let's actually see what's happening. I'm going to put this inside of a try catch so I can actually inspect the error that's coming back. And specifically with Axios, whenever you try catch an error, and let's put the response in there, but whenever you try catch an error, you can log error.response.data. And that's actually going to give you back the error response if it was like a JSON object or something like that. So if I save that, refresh, here we go. And we can see the error we get back from Twitch is bad request, invalid client ID specified. So I already knew this, but this is just junk data. I need to go get a real client ID. I need to get a real OAuth token. And so I'm going to hide my screen and do that. But, and actually, let's not call the function. It's going to be, we're going to do it in the console. So when I update these to be real values, and then I call this function, it should actually call the Twitch API. And so the question that we are answering right now is, how do I specify custom headers? The answer is, in the third parameter to your Axios request, you can specify options. Let me see if I can find that real quick in the Axios docs. Let's just look for Axios. Yeah, so the docs are not the best, but you can see right here the request config. So, well, actually, it's not really even the request config because with Axios, it actually is possible to just pass in a single object with a bunch of different properties, but you can also pass in multiple properties. Look at all those cheer badges. So let's see. And I think this is where their docs are saying where to specify the headers. Yeah. So the difference between Axios and Fetch is Axios is a third-party library. So Axios, it is an open source project, but somebody wrote this code. They basically wrote code that makes it fairly easy to make requests inside of the web browser. The thing is, it's slowly getting out of date. It's not really maintained anymore. And now Fetch is built into the web browser. So if you look at caniuse.com, this is a website that will tell you what's supported in what web browsers. But if you search for Fetch, you can see that it is a modern replacement for XML HTTP request, and it exists in pretty much all modern web browsers. So Basically, you can use fetch without having to install anything, without having to link to a CDN. You just use it because it's built into these web browsers. Whereas Axios is kind of like code written on top of XML HTTP requests, which is the old way that's built into the browsers of making a request. Yeah. Fetch your Axios. The thing is, lately, I've been using Axios because it has built-in error handling. So the fact that I can wrap this request in a try, and then it throws an error if the response status code is not 200, is why I like this. Earlier, actually, we saw that code example earlier. When I made a request with fetch, I had to add some custom code here. I had to say, if response is okay, then we'll do something. But if this response is not okay, throw an error. So with fetch, you have to do a little bit more work to actually handle errors. That said, if you're not going to use a library, fetch is really easy to use compared to something like XML HTTP requests. But okay, we're using Axios. Here we go. Right now I'm using Firefox. I use it because they are a great company. Request promise can throw an error on failure. Yeah. There are a lot. And the thing is, like, Axios or jQuery Ajax is another way of doing it. That was the really popular way of doing it before Axios got really popular. I don't know. But the Mozilla Foundation is a great place. They support privacy. They support, like, web education, all that good stuff. And they make Firefox. I used Google Chrome for the longest time because it was just faster, but now Firefox is catching up, so I'm back on Firefox. That's why I use Firefox. Yep, I disabled Pocket. I don't like it. I do have this, though. I can turn on, like, nice reading mode. So with Axios, anything that is not a 200 status code throws an error. So, well, not a 200, anything that is not an OK status code. So there are a few status codes like redirects or like 200 that are technically not errors, and those will not throw an error. But if it's anything else, it throws an error. And yeah, and if I wasn't using async await, I would actually put a .then and a .catch on here. Yeah, 400 is an error status code. All right, let's get to this. So I actually need to, we want to get this working. What I need is a real client ID and a real authorization token to get this working. I'm going to hide my screen when I do all of this. But you can see that when I create an OAuth token, I need the channel editor OAuth permission. So I'm going to hide my screen when I generate all this, but just know that that's what I'm doing. What is Kai another request library? Kai, elegant fetch. Okay. Okay. With Kai, this becomes a one-liner. Ah, interesting. So I wrote a library for this very reason. It's called EasyFetch. It does a similar thing. I show it in my docs. I show it using like .thens and .catches, but you could use this with async await. But basically, I wrote some simple code on top of fetch that throws an error when the status code is not a success status code, and it automatically parses the body based on the content type headers. So, yeah, there's that. But this library, it's very simple. It doesn't have tests. Don't use this. Use something else. Okay, I'm gonna hide my screen. We're gonna get that OAuth token and client ID, and then we're gonna make the request happen. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Oh. Yeah, so you can generate, actually, can I show this? Yeah, I'll show this really quick. So in the Twitch console, you can register applications. That's going to give you a client ID, and then you have to complete the OAuth flow to create a token that has the specific, what do you call it? Specific scopes that you require. In this case, I need the channel editor permission. So you would create your application here and then use that client ID to request the OAuth token. I'm not going to show you how I request the OAuth token, but just know that you can, and they have docs on how to do it. But yeah, that's the thing. Hello, Proxin. Welcome. For a while I was working on a, yeah, I realized you all saw that. I was working on a chat bot for Fun Function when he didn't have one. He didn't know I was working on it. I just worked on it, and then I never showed him. So that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah, Princess Nasty says, remember that the auth token refreshes each time. I don't think it refreshes each time, but it does expire. Like, if you create an OAuth token, it will expire. And actually, I'm using Kraken. I'm not using Helix. Here we go. Leaked? No, we are not leaked. I think channel editor is the only one that I need. Here we go. Okay, just a second. I haven't really worked much with headless CMSs, so I don't really have any recommendations. That's pretty cool, Alka. Is that just HTML? Yeah, I'm definitely going to avoid showing it. I'm just going to put it in a config file. Because this is just a static app, I don't really have dot files. But there's that. Oh, those were emotes. Those were awesome emotes. Okay, so now we have... So basically, I created a separate file called config. And then we're just going to use the values from the config inside of there. So you won't see my actual files. Like this. Did I forget to hide? No, I can see. I can see that I hid my screen. Stop trolling. I know what you all are seeing. All right. Client ID. Let me share it. Let me make sure I spelled everything correctly. Okay. All right. All right. I don't think. Yeah. Here we go. I don't think we've leaked anything, but. Now, in a separate file, I've defined my client ID, I've defined that token that has the right scope, and now this function should work. It shouldn't catch, we should get back a response. Let's see what happens. So we're gonna go back to the browser. We have this function, what is it called? Update game. Are you ready? If you're watching on Twitch, look down there. My game is going to change, if I got this right. Are you ready? Should have worked. We did get back a 200 status code. My game is now Science and Technology. Did it work? Did it work? My dashboard hasn't updated. Didn't work. It says it worked. Game. Just chatting. Config. Didn't work. Yeah, it should have worked. Maybe I didn't specify it right. Okay. Oh, you know what? I need to persist logs. All right, we're going to try one more time, and then I'm going to debug. Like, I technically got back a 200 status code. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to hide my screen, and I'm going to inspect the network log to see what was sent, make sure the right thing was sent. So I can see my request headers have a client ID. They also have authorization, which is my token. The request itself is an object that has a game property with Science and Technology. and then the response does not include the game. Well, didn't work. What did I do wrong? Like in, well, my screen is hidden. Stop it. You trolls, stop it. Oh, did it? Well, I think it had the right content type. Let's see. So in the request, we can look at the headers, content type. Oh, no. Request headers. I have accept, application VND Twitch T v5. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Okay. I'm going to show my screen again. Let's look at the Twitch docs. If we look at their example curl, the data, yeah, I mean technically, I think it's an object called channel. I think I need to do this. Yeah, channel with a property called game that's inside of it. I think this is what I need to do. So you can see here, this is actually like URL encoded. So it's channel bracket status and then bracket game, channel bracket game. Yeah. So this is what I needed. Before, that's better looking. Before I just had game, it needs to be inside of a channel object. It's really interesting that it's not failing. But this should fix it. All right. Are you all ready? Moment of truth. Moment of truth. Refresh the page. Oh, yeah. Clear the logs. I knew it looked weird. It worked. It worked. Woo! Okay. So, yeah, it worked. We did it. We did it with code. Yeah, the API is like, whatever you say, buddy. Thank you. Cool. Ultimately, that was all to answer this question. How do I use Axios Post? Ta-da! The main thing to see is that there are 3 parameters. The first parameter is the URL. The second parameter is the body of the request. And the third parameter is all of your options, including things like headers. So there we go. We did it. Infi is mentioning that you no longer get a now.sh domain. You're getting a versal.app. I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, so that was great, and that was fun. Yeah, you're very welcome, Mint Jim. Thanks for asking the question. I'm definitely from the raid test. Yeah, the API, the backend code is on my API repo on my GitHub. Boost number 50. A beginner stream on scraping. I've actually done a ton of those. I'm not sure why that looks like that. That's not the message you sent, is it? Oh, it's because there's a bunch of extra HTML in there, yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things I liked about now.sh. But regardless, if you look on my YouTube, and actually do this, go to coding.garden/videos. And then search for scrap. You'll see a ton of videos. This was like the second or third live stream I ever did. And I built a web scraper to scrape IMDb. Now, you may not need to do this. They may have some sort of API now. But basically, I just showed how you can basically inspect a web page to figure... Wait, what didn't age well? This video? You can inspect a web page to figure out what you want to extract out of it. This one actually is very beginner friendly because I was pairing with a complete and total noob. Yeah, Vox Populi, the voice of the people. But in this video, I was pairing with a complete and total noob, and we built a scraper for Craigslist. Ultimately, we wanted to build an app that would keep an eye on the things that he was interested in, and we built like a view web page that talked to this scraping API that we created. But this is really good for beginners because the person I was pairing with knew very little about code, and so we're explaining most of the things along the way. So mainly we're just using JavaScript here. I do full stack JavaScript. I really like JavaScript. I say I'm going to learn and do other things, but we mainly do JavaScript. And I think one of the missions of this channel is to show that JavaScript Node.js is a mature ecosystem where you can build the same kinds of awesome applications that you would build with other things that you might be used to, like .NET or other stuff like that. Yeah. Sire. But also, if you go to this website, you can filter all of the videos on YouTube and stuff like that. Cool. Any plans to work with state machines? Someone talked about XState a while back. Fox got lost. This is really cool. This is a state management library, which would be like a replacement for like Redux or something like that. And you can use it in React. You can use it in other JavaScript applications. But it's based on a specification that was written years ago. Like years ago. And before even the idea of like front-end coding and front-end global state management was a thing, the specification for this existed, and they've just taken that specification and implemented it to be used in JavaScript. But it works off of state machines. It's pretty interesting. I might check it out in the future. Can I build a full stack app with Grant and React someday? One day. Yes, one day. I did hide my screen. Do I have any struggles learning JavaScript, and if so, what were they? For me, I came from a C# and .NET background, and at the time, when I was working in C#, Lambda functions, or I guess that's what they were called, like using like LINQ, LINQ, the language integrated query inside of C#, was not extremely popular, but once you got used to it, it was like really powerful. But that was using Lambda functions. So for me, the biggest thing to get used to in JavaScript is the fact that all functions are passed, or like functions can be passed around. So it's a language that has functions as first-class citizens. And once you realize the power of it, the power of being able to pass functions around, you can do some really clever and powerful things. So that was one of the biggest struggles, is just learning how to use functions. The other thing for me was learning about map, filter, and reduce. For whatever reason, everyone in the JavaScript world likes to do map, filter, and reduce. And when I first came into JavaScript, I couldn't wrap my head around like what those even were or why I would need them. And now I use them all the time. Is that a good thing? Probably not. It's like terse code that you have to actually understand what those functions do to be able to even understand the code itself. But yeah, I don't know. And thank you, Wets, for that follow. Nice. Yeah, Fun Function is a great place to learn about functional programming concepts, specifically in JavaScript. But yeah. Array.reduce for running promises synchronously. Yeah, cool. This is great. And I've done this on stream before, but basically, because reduce can take an array of values and turn it into a single value. But if you use that fact to say that each promise should only be run after the previous promise is resolved, you basically can create, I think it might be in the spec now, like promise.waterfall or something like that. But yeah, you could do that. Yeah, if you don't know how to learn how to program yet, then that's another thing. So there's that. CJ Naruto run.now.sh. Well, apparently Rich Dev can use now. They're not using Versal. Nice. Oh, back and forth. Wow. Yeah, I think ES 2020 introduced that. Is it the null coalescing operator? Is that what it's called? The question mark? Yeah. Beautiful. Great work. All right, I gotta go. I appreciate you all, but I gotta go. There are a bunch of questions here. I'm gonna try to filter through these, and next time we'll is it CJ's birthday.now.sh? Not found. I thought you made a real website. Come on. That would have been cool. Please don't go. No, I gotta go. I have a work meeting. I actually might be late for the work meeting because I think it happened early or something, but I have to go. Can I answer number 50 very quickly? What do I think of Dino not having a centralized package manager? I think it's totally fine. The thing is, even in the Node.js ecosystem, and using npm, you can install things that don't live on npmjs.org, right? You can install things from GitHub. You can change your repository URL, install things from other places. So with Node.js, it's possible, just everyone is used to installing everything from npmjs.org. So I think it's totally fine. It's just the fact that Dino has exposed that fact and allows you to pull it from anywhere. So I think it's cool. I have no issue with it. I do wish there was a better way of listing out your dependencies. I think import maps are going to be probably the way to go with that. But they're currently an unstable feature, and I'm sure there will be community package managers that do similar things, but I think it's fine. Where's the cake? And thanks to Atomic J. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for that Twitch Prime sub. I have a work meeting. It's an estimation meeting. And thanks for all the birthday wishes. The nullish coalescing operator. Yeah. I skipped the comment. Oh. I thought it was the same. I don't know. I have to go, though. But quick shout out to all the supports before we go. Insane amount of support today. Insane amount of support. Wow. Am I going to be able to read through all that? I can't, but I appreciate you all. If you stick around, there's a credits, and on the credits, if you subbed, if you gave bits, if you followed, all that good stuff, you're going to see it. Yeah, we're going to do a raid. If you go to raidmessages.now.sh, you can grab that raid message. I don't know who we're going to raid. Just stick around. Oh, you changed the styles. Very nice, Imphy. Imphy made this website. Yeah, so thank you, Alka, for the link. If you're a sub, you can use this raid message. Oh, and now there's a copy button. Nice. Copy, paste. Thank you, Hacks, for that happy birthday wishes. And if you are not a sub, you can use these emotes, or these emojis. There you go. Do I think virtual env will come into existence for Dino? That's a great question, because like in the Python world, that's what people are used to. You create a virtual environment and all of your dependencies get installed in there. I don't see why not. I don't know if it'll pick up, but I see someone in the community creating something similar. Yeah. Cool. All right, there's the raid message. Stick around. Again, I appreciate you all. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Thank you for all the support. You're wonderful, wonderful people. And give me 1 second, because this always takes time. I didn't know if the copy button would actually work. Stream labels wasn't running, so it would have been a little, yeah, so you see that pop up. It would have been a little awkward to roll the credits. Okay. Thank you all for watching. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.